Welcome back to Kind of Funny's Fast and Furious in Review. That's right. We are ranking and reviewing every single movie in the Fast and Furious franchise, the cinematic universe, if you will. And with this movie, it finally is one. We're finally like getting outside of our comfort zones, getting some spin-offs. Hobbs and Shaw, baby. I'm Tim Gettys. This is Andy Cortez. That is Kevin Coelho. We got Greg Miller. We got Nick Scarpino.
Hello.
We got his Coke Zero.
You know, let's take a break for a second. We've done this show long enough. I got a bone to pick with one Josh McCouga.
Fucking finally.
You know what I mean? He's back there backstage, sitting back there. Before I go on, he goes, "Hey, we're going to have a little talk about your Diet Coke consumption." Mm-hmm. I don't like being judged in my own office. Mm-hmm. Do you see what I'm saying?
This goddamn alcohol's coming in here telling you you're drinking too much.
He's in our domain. Yeah,
he's in our house.
It's our house now.
I don't go into Collider and be like, "Hey, I don't like you hanging off with Christian Harloff, or that guy,
exactly,
or that person, or that other thing." You know, I don't like that woman. Like, you know what I mean? I don't say that to all their cast of characters. You know what I mean? But they're a motley crew of people with hair and eyes.
It's Kind of Funny in Review. You can watch it live every Tuesday normally at twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames at 11 a.m. Or you can watch it later on youtube.com/kindoffunny or roosterteeth.com or on podcast services. Just search for Kind of Funny Reviews. At the end of this episode, we will be revealing the rest of this year's lineup of the franchises. That's
the entire year.
Mm-hmm. Half year, yeah.
I know, but it's still
gonna be a good time.
Okay, good. I'm excited.
The rest of the
It'll be a good time for everybody. We would appreciate you leaving thumbs up and good reviews and stuff on the podcast services. That helps us in the algorithms and all of that.
If you don't like it, go vote down Josh McCouga shows. You know what I mean? Take it out on him.
Use it.
Collider Live my ass. 100%. Blow it out.
If you want to get this show ad-free, you can do that. Just go to patreon.com/kindoffunny. Just like our Patreon producer, David Mintel did. The Mind Freak himself. He returns once again.
Hold on. Andy, you say it, then Kevin, then Greg, then me. Go.
Mind free. But imagine if we were all in surround sound.
Why? I know. What if we can do that thing where like, it feels like it's going across your head?
I can do that. I can change some settings. I'll get there.
No. People, when they're listening at home, just play it back in one ear and then do this.
Just switch it up.
Switch.
Further away.
Today we're talking about Hobbs and Shaw.
Spit in your car.
Fast and Furious presents
Hobbs and Shaw, released on August 2nd, 2019. That's today. Directed by David Leitch. You might know him as the director, the uncredited director of John Wick, the director of Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, and the upcoming The Division movie.
Yay!
What's that do for you, Greg?
I'm excited.
You excited for some Division?
Oh, yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal, Jessica Chastain, The Dollar Flu. Let's just talk about The Division right now. You know what I mean?
A budget of $200 million. Box office, obviously, we don't have too many stats.
Disappointingly.
Like last night was the
Didn't make
opening.
its money back.
In the United States and Canada, Hobbs and Shaw is projected to gross 60 to 65 million from 4,200 theaters its opening weekend, while some insiders predict it could exceed 70 million. And it is looking like it's projected to get 195 million worldwide this weekend, which is a lot of money. A lot of money. The film made $5.8 million from its Thursday night previews, the highest amount for both Johnson and Statham outside of the main Fast and Furious series. Runtime of 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Fuck, that's longer than I thought it was.
And you feel them.
No, they fly by.
Before we get into the plot of this movie, let's go around table. What do we think? Nick Scarpino.
You should start with Andy.
I can be the sweetener.
Let's start positively. Andy, what did you think of this?
But why?
Because me and Greg did not like it.
I liked it a lot. I had a blast. I had a smile on my face the whole time. I think that like the humor was great, and this was trying to be like a way funnier movie than prior iterations of it. And I think that's just because of David Leitch and his background
And his friends.
Yeah, bringing on Ryan Reynolds, bringing on. I'll say it right now. Kevin Hart should replace Tyrese. Like, I'll just say it right now.
Oh, we can have
Bring it up, dude.
Tyrese
don't
really
kick
needs
family
the
members
money.
out.
Nah, man. He's the better Tyrese. He's the better Tyrese.
You're saying things you can't take back.
I don't disagree with
Say it right
that.
now.
I don't think Kevin Hart's hungry.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, I had a blast though, dude. Like, I walked out. I just like, I do think the end was like, ultra silly. And just ultra dumb.
The end was ultra silly.
I mean, a lot of it was. Yeah. But God, I just love these fucking dumb movies. They're just entertaining and fun.
Kevin?
Yeah, I was laughing the entire time.
We heard, yeah.
I loved this movie so much. It got the coveted double thumbs up for me.
Wow.
I really enjoyed it.
Rare.
Yeah. And this gets me super excited for the spinoff. I hope that like they get this sort of love. And yeah, this is a great movie. I highly recommend it.
Greg Miller.
I was heartbroken. It's not that I hated it or anything. I think it's a bad movie. I was just bored. It had the cardinal sin of me where I was watching like, I am bored and I am now thinking about how long this movie is. And like when we finally got to Samoa, I was like, all right, cool. It's about to, we're still going. All right, it's still happening. Like there was literally a part where me and Nick leaned over and started talking like, Nick, this movie's still going.
Still going.
Like, I know it's still going.
Yeah, I'm with Greg on this one where I think there's lots of great stuff in this. And obviously it's a fun movie and it's not trying to be anything other than it is. And for that, I think it succeeded. But for the 10th, is this the 10th Fast and Furious movie that we're seeing or 9th? This is the 9th. There's just not a lot of stuff in here that's new. There were some funny moments. Ryan Reynolds being in this and me not really knowing that.
That was great.
Fantastic.
The part where he goes, he's like, what did I tell you? He's like, stop watching you while you sleep. That shit, hilarious, right?
Yeah.
But what this movie failed to do for me was it failed to do anything fun with the action. And the movie's like, there's so much action in this. Like when we get to the part where they're running down the side of the thing, I was like, oh, that was so cool in the trailers. I was bored in that scene.
What?
I was bored in the scene where they go to the Russian place. And then by the time we got to Samoa, I was like, this would have been cool. But man, this movie does not need to be 2 hours and 25 minutes long. This would be great if it was just a clip under 2 hours. Let's get in, get out, a little less. The improv stuff I thought predominantly was fun to watch. I really liked Statham and Rock's back and forth, but it just sucks that when we got to the action, I was like, let's get back to this is weird for me to say, but I'm like, all right, let's get back to the story. Like I don't need to see this guy with a Transformer motorcycle, this generic ass bag.
No,
Cool.
But those parts were fun, but that character was so generic. Everything was so generic to the point where we get to the end of this movie and. Well, I'm like, oh, cool. They're going to reveal the bad guy. Maybe it's going to be Charlize Theron's character from the other one.
No.
And they couldn't even make that choice. They're like, let's just keep it the generic fucking voice
For now.
For now,
I think
because they just don't care.
Or they do care a lot, and they're building that.
There's 3 post-credit sequences in this thing, and I was like, I want to leave this theater now. It's too long. It's too much. And none of it's new, and none of it nothing felt especially stand out for me. That was my big thing. And yeah, to Greg's point, like I ate a cookie that Jen brought during the previews, and I was still thinking about that cookie about an hour and a half later. I was like,
you know what I'd like? Cookie. That was a damn good cookie.
But that's not true. I should have been thinking about the stunning performances that I'm seeing on screen and how much fun I'm having. I just didn't have that much fun.
I agree with parts of what you're saying, but in a different way, where I don't think any of the action stood out because all of it was out of 10. Where I do think a lot of the set pieces were fucking fantastic and rival some of the best we've seen in the whole franchise. But this movie was relentless, and I loved that. It committed to what it was doing, but none of the scenes felt as epic as they did in the trailers because the whole thing was so high, and it was just like, the entire time.
See, that's not how I felt.
I agree that it was relentless at that thing, and that's one of the problems I was having with it when we were walking out talking about it. And I know clearly, I think we're all going to we're going to disagree. I just felt like the movie had no heart. Like I like Rock and Statham. Period. I like why? What is that? I feel like you're really doubling down on puns lately on shows.
I like it. It's good.
I like them a lot, and I like the interaction. But it was just like I felt like I had so few reasons to care. Like him talking to Helen Mirren, I was like, oh, this is a cool scene. All right, cool. And then it was like we didn't have enough flashbacks or that mattered. I felt with him and his sister, so it was just like a surface level. They're estranged siblings, okay. And then like The Rock's got his daughter, and like, oh, we never talk about your family. I'm like, oh, okay. Really? And then it was like, now we're back at Simone. It's like, well, you didn't really build it. I understand from the early part in the photo, like this is supposed to matter, but it just doesn't. I'd rather see you drop this and drop the other thing and just have it be Statham and Rock having to figure this out in this movie.
Yeah. I also the other thing that I just didn't like was I don't like the Rock as a romantic lead. This is not a knock against The Rock. It's just not his strength. I did not think he had any chemistry with Vanessa Kirby, and I thought they were really shoehorning a lot of that stuff in where I'm like, I don't think The Rock wants to kiss you right now. This is weird. This feels like he feels very like I felt like Statham had more sexual chemistry with Vanessa Kirby, and he's supposed to be the brother. And so it was very, very weird.
Yeah.
No, not
to me,
cool,
this movie
not 20 years.
felt like
what is 20 years? I don't know what you're saying.
It felt like a greatest hits album, as opposed to a actual unique piece of art. like its own album, and that's not a bad thing. It kind of was just the best parts of everything that we've seen before, but that's all that it was. And it's like, there was no story. Who gives a shit though? We don't need a story. And that's the weird thing is when I look to use that analogy, like what is my favorite pieces of music from artists? Is it their albums or is it the greatest hits that's just the parts that I want? And I feel like on any given day that can change. And when we rank these later, I'll have to make that decision. But I feel like this in a lot of ways is the best because it is just the best parts. But overall, it doesn't have the plot or like kind of the things that the others do. And that's fine.
Well, let's back up. Fast and Furious has never been known for its intricate plots. I think that the plot in this is probably as generically good as the plot in any of the other ones.
I disagree. I mean, I feel like this one like committed to the like, who are you? I'm the bad guy. Okay, cool. He's the bad guy.
God, I
Like,
love that.
It was so
You're all
self-aware
hypocrites. You hated
where
it
it's
in
just
fucking
like
Suicide Squad.
we're fucking going in and just gonna do exactly what we want. The
See, I
Suicide
feel like
Squad
I feel
never
like
upped the
I
ante
feel
with
like
it.
that would have been the way to do it, right? Of like what you're talking about. I wish this was the greatest hits, where it's like we know they're good together. Let's just make a movie about them being good together. But instead, we get the normal tendrils of well, now there's got to be a family thing. We've got to have this, and we've got to have this intrigue and this weird disembodied voice. I would have much rather it be like Idris Elba is Black Superman. He's out there fucking shit up with his little gang. We need you guys to come in. There's some romantic MI6 thing involved, and then that's all we do. I don't need the kid. I don't need the family dynamic all that much. I mean, you can play with it if you wanted to. I don't need Samoa. Let's fucking go out and make a cool action movie that's like a buddy cop film or whatever.
An hour
like
and 45 minutes long.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
I love both these guys, but at hour 2, I was like,
And I feel like
a lot
that's
of
the
ball
thing.
jokes that these guys throw back and forth. A lot
Back
of
to your
improv
relentless
that's
thing,
not
right?
working.
Like for a Fast and Furious traditional movie, right? Especially with the most recent ones, like it ebbs and flows, and there's the downtimes of Dom and Mia having a real moment that again establishes the stakes and why this matters and all stuff. This didn't ever have that. I feel like where it's like we got to Samoa and I was like, I was more hung up on wait, is Jonah the dude from Fear the Walking Dead? And I'm like, damn, he's a good actor because he doesn't look like it. He's doing which one's the accent? Is it this? And I'm like totally thinking about that, not at all about their weird chop shop backstory with their dad that left and all this shit. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it was a lot.
I liked all that stuff. I did enjoy that sort of meaningful moment between him and his brother and having that like you left us, you abandoned us, and then him coming back and the I love you scene I thought was like pretty impactful.
Yeah.
I thought it was neat, and I wish that I wish that they didn't save it for the end credit scene because I feel like I would have preferred to have it. Even though like the credits are rolling and you're still seeing like parts of the movie, I thought where his daughter meets his grandma or his mom was really great. Like she meets her grandma for the first time. I thought like that got me emotional weirdly. But the rest of the post credit scenes, I felt like all right, that could be extra.
It's a little letdown for sure.
Those could be extra scenes in the DVD or whatever.
Yeah.
I also felt like the family relationship stuff. I didn't. No.
One of the best lines.
Why?
Because it just reminded me of one of the best lines of the whole movie was in one of the post-credit scenes where he's like, what's your blood type? Be positive.
Oh my
Like
god!
my outlook on life.
Outlook on life. Oh, such a good.
Ryan
Ryan
Reynolds.
Reynolds.
Just
What
let
did
Ryan
we
Reynolds
do to
be a-
deserve him, man?
But I was saying, I enjoyed the family dynamics and that they both had like betrayed their family in a way.
Sure.
Where with Statham, he had turned on his team, and his sister realizes, oh, it's the same shit that's happening to me right now, and I've like hated him for the wrong reasons. And with The Rock, we have like he betrayed his father and got him arrested, and now everyone's like, you're a narc, get out of here. And like, but he did that to protect his family.
No, look,
I like those.
I think the best intentions were there, and I think there were some I think that there's a lot of fun stuff in this movie. And again, I think people should go see it. I think it's fun to see it. It's a fun movie, and they tried. I just think it was very convoluted. Way too many elements. And to Greg's point,
Convoluted.
like I mean, there's 5-6 storylines happening. Like everyone portrayed their
I feel like
family.
they're all just A to B. It's like
Really? Like I get to Echelon and all of a sudden this guy's got the power to frame everyone and we're going back and retconning people's histories. Like it's just why?
But they've
Who are
already
these
said
Echelon? It's like we're trying to do heartfelt moments and then this unbelievably generic story. It didn't work for me.
I felt like the when you're saying the retconning people's history, are you talking about Statham or?
I mean, Statham's history. Who the fuck knows at this
But
point?
no,
like,
we've gotten hints of this in the last.
well, he
movie
started
that
off
they
as a bad
talked
guy,
about.
and then
Yeah.
they decided to make him a good guy.
But
So they
even
retconned his
when they
history.
introduced him as a bad guy, it was the background that we know now that he was like British intelligence, and he turned on his team. And then in 8, they were like, oh, he was tricked into or like framed. Yeah.
Right, and
Yeah.
then they framed him when he killed Han. Right, that was what
No,
they did with him.
he killed.
No, he just
Han.
iced Han. Right,
He
that's what I'm
turned
saying.
into a
Like,
bad person. Yeah.
I get where we are with this stuff, and I give him kudos for giving those moments. Like when he sat opposite Helen Mirren, I was like, this is great, this is cool. I don't fault them for the family stuff. I just feel like there's a lot going on in this that never fully got fleshed out. And when we get to we're in the third act and we finally get to the point where we start getting some of the Rock's backstory, I was like, I don't need this. Although I will disagree with you. I like the daughter scenes. I like that. I like seeing him with his daughter, but it's probably because I'm used to seeing that dynamic with him and her from like the previous movies. I thought those are some of the fun like touches.
I do feel
that
like
they
it
did on,
grounds
like,
him a bit
and like
more.
Fast 7 and Fast 8.
It grounds.
Also-
I just didn't like her. Like I thought
Really?
she
I
wasn't
thought
a
she
good
was
actor.
good.
She took me out.
She the
of it.
same daughter from the other one?
I
I
couldn't
don't
tell.
think so. I don't
His
think so.
actual daughter.
I will.
know.
I will
Should be
say.
in the
I don't
movie,
think so
though.
because
Man,
he's
can you
got
look that up?
I will say that
I think he's got one
his-
really young daughter,
yeah,
and
he's
one really
got- yeah,
older
exactly.
daughter, like
Yeah.
in her 20s.
I do think that if we hadn't seen the daughter of Helen Mirren, this would not have really seemed like a Fast and the Furious movie. Like it could have just been like another rock action movie with
Yeah.
Jason Statham.
Sure.
And because of that, I lost my train of thought.
Great.
I just want
How about that?
See, for me, I think though that's the point, right? Of like Tim was like, oh, and it's finally a universe because of the spin. This felt like it felt like a watered down Fast and Furious movie to me. Like I would have rather it be we're doing a spinoff, which means we aren't held back by the same thing of needing the family connection or the tie or whatever. Because again, to Nick's point, by the time we get to Samoa. And like it's the whole thing too is like I really don't feel that. I understand there's the conversation between him and Jonah of like I love you too, man, whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's still no acknowledgement. It feels like from Jonah of like you know what, man, you did the right thing. Dad was a dirtbag. It's
No,
like
I
no,
mean,
it's like like
it's
you're
just-
like
it's
oh, he
because
turned down his
it-
family. Fuck his
it's
family. His dad was a bad guy.
There's a lot of backstory to try to develop in 10 minutes. And that's I guess my biggest part. So I was like, oh, that's cool, but that should have been the whole point of the movie. Like that's a whole movie all to itself of a guy coming home after this whole backstory with the dad.
Yeah,
I
totally,
would have wanted to see
right.
that stuff. Also,
That would have been cool. You had a tease here.
Also,
tease this and
I
give us
just
some
want
more.
you guys to know at some point, I leaned over to Greg and I said, Greg, it's the Uso brothers. The Uso brothers. He didn't think it was a good joke then either.
It was,
But
yeah,
I
that's
thought
a
it was
bad
hilarious.
joke.
But he's like, and then afterwards,
I don't get the-
afterwards
like the
he's like,
Russo
like the
brothers?
Russo brothers, and I was like, oh, you understand? There's the Uso brothers in WWE.
all right.
I
I
had
thought
no
that's what he
fucking
was-
idea
I
what you're
thought they
talking
were
about.
in there. I was
I
like,
thought he was
were they?
doing the wrestling thing.
Yeah.
They just kept saying Uso, which is like I guess
It
how
means
you say brother.
Yeah.
Barrett
Samoa.
Courtney from the back. has
Really
something to say.
quick, this is not the same. We're talking about the rock starter, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's not the same actress. And then really quick.
Actress wanted too much money from the last.
Yeah. And then
She's like, I'm
I
gonna
really
pick
like the
Dora.
movie. The only problem I have with it is how quickly the sun came up in the last fight. Because
They
it was
fight
10
with the
minutes.
sun
It
in the
was
back.
10 fucking minutes. It starts in complete dark, and then the sun is like
And then the
at
storm.
midday.
It was dawn.
And
They were
then-
fighting
oh,
for 6
God.
hours.
Well, they did say that there was going to be a storm. on
No,
that
they
side.
weren't.
didn't say that.
They
They
were
did.
fighting for 30 minutes
And-
because they had the timer.
Dude,
And this is
that
my 6
timer
minutes,
fucking
it's true.
broke me when she's like, all right, 30 minutes. I'm like,
like,
all right, cool.
30
And then
minutes?
and they hear like the whoop, 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 like, oh, they're getting close. And then the fight's going on, and she goes to look at him like, oh man, a lot of time it's probably going to wait 10 minutes. Like, oh my fucking
Yeah.
god, oh my
But
fucking
that's the thing,
god.
and again, not to shit on the movie completely. Like when we get to that final scene where he's like, "Hey, we got to work together," and like, "I'll take a punch for you." I was like,
Hilarious.
"Okay,
Yeah.
this is where we're at."
Yeah. I
But I
loved it,
like
yeah.
that scene.
I loved
That's
it so
that's where I
much.
wanted to be.
I liked,
And,
I liked them working together fighting, but like when we're watching it, and I'm like, how are they gonna beat Black Superman? And Jen Lee Never's like, he's gonna get struck by lightning, and I was like, oh wow, that's a great idea. Short amount of time, and then it's just like, I'm gonna punch him hard while you take the punch. I'm like, his skin's bulletproof? What is this guy's powers? Like, what the
his
fuck is
skin's not
going on?
bulletproof. He had a
but they can
bulletproof
shut
suit
him
on.
down. That's great.
Like, whatever.
Oh, it's
Jesus.
like that.
So good.
Yeah.
He can read and like in nanoseconds adjust, but not if there's two people.
It's also one of those things where like they try to get a lot of backstory between him and Statham, and I'm like, what happened between you guys?
What do you
They
mean?
shot-
It was
why did
so
you shoot him
clear.
in the head?
It was so.
Explain it to me.
Yeah. Well, so what happened is, what's the name of the corporation? Egon.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Edeon.
matter. The corporation got Idris Elba, and he was trying to turn Statham. Statham would not turn, so the corporation told him to kill Statham,
Okay,
and he went to kill Statham. Statham killed him.
but Statham shot him in the head.
Yeah, killed him. Yeah.
Okay,
What?
and they brought him back from the dead. Like a
Yeah.
fucking zombie.
Yes, they made.
They
a
brought
big-
him back from the
They
dead.
said that multiple times.
Is the backstory of this. That's ridiculous.
but it is simple as hell.
Yeah, it's not confusing to understand.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, all right. Two men jumped, or 3 guys jumped off a building. One dude jumps on top of him, and then jumps on another guy, and then jumps on the third guy.
When the chain starts to go at the very end and Rock grabs it, I was like, oh my god.
See, that's the thing we didn't know. The Rock had those fucking superpowers all along.
He's like, oh, I've seen Chris Evans Captain America.
Wait,
Fuck this.
The thing is, he grabs it for like 10 seconds, and then Statham hits the brakes a little. I just love that whole, like, don't worry, I got you, and he hits the brakes, and he's able to put it back on there. I loved it.
The thing I did love is that in the trailers, when we see those moments, those are like the, all right, come on. So like The Rock holding a fucking helicopter or whatever, but then they explain, oh, the rotor's out. So it's not a fully powered helicopter, guys. The Rock is still strong enough to do that.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Exactly.
Makes total sense.
Hit me with the plot.
Oh, I thought we were going to do Fast and Furious.
I mean, not yet.
Oh, okay. Plot, 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 plot.
Everybody! Plot, 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 plot. All right, we're in London, baby, home of Austin Powers, those funny Q-tip hats, and pork and beans. It's true. They're fucking over there. They want to get some stupid virus, so a bunch of MI6 people are in there, and they're like, doing this whole fucking thing. And they get over there, and they find the stupid thing, and then Idris Elba shows up, and he's all like, I'm fucking crazy, and I'm on a motorcycle, and I got a whole bunch of bad guys with me. You're like, oh shit, bad guys. And like people start shooting, and things are happening, and then like it's all going bad, because you can't fight this guy. You already know he has superpowers. He's Black Superman. We all saw the trailer. We know what's going on.
When the fight starts,
He can stop bullets like Darth Vader.
Someone goes to shoot him, and he just blocks it with his bulletproof like
Setting
glove.
the tone in
and it
this
just,
movie.
And it's so fucking awesome.
A Black Superman.
And he's got a bunch of metal in him. He's like a cyborg, right?
Yeah, he's got a metal spine, it looks like.
Okay, that's all the metal he has? Because
That's
he
all we
punches
saw.
a door really hard too, doesn't he?
And there was like a sound when he punched
Right,
in the
right.
beginning when he's trying to get into the van.
So you understand my confusion of why just 2 guys can suddenly fight him at the end of the movie. Anyways.
Not 2 guys, Greg.
Their family.
We've seen Statham take out a whole building full of SWAT. Remember?
Yeah, human beings. I'm just saying, this
human
guy's
SWAT.
got
Yeah.
super
Were they cyborg
everything.
SWAT?
Why even imminent threat? So he can slow down time, right? He understands timing in a different way. He's part robot. Whatever.
It was raining, Greg. It was hard to see.
Oh, sorry.
Up until the
Apologies.
last
Electrical
5 minutes of the
No.
movie, they weren't working together.
I feel like for the whole beginning of the fight, all the shots that he gets hit by are coming from behind him. So Statham is hit, like he punches Statham in the face, and The Rock comes behind him, like elbows him in
Can't
the
dodge
back.
what you can't see.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I will say,
he doesn't
again,
have eyes in the back of his head.
That
or
last
cameras.
fight-
He's got a metal spine.
The last fight scene when Statham throws a fucking elbow, I was like, yeah.
Nick audibly popped for that.
was like, yeah.
Anyways,
Good
back
elbow.
to this though. They're doing everybody's getting fucking KO'd and killed and shit and whatever. And the woman opens up the thing and it's some kind of thing. It's got a little vial in there of shit. And she's like, fuck it, and puts her hand on it. And I was like, oh, she's gonna get superpowers, but she doesn't. But it doesn't. The powers of it do give her the ability to get away from Black Superman, like not being seen at all, which is interesting. But Black Superman, he gets in there. He's like, oh no, and he opens it up. It's like, oh, it's gone, and she's out in the wind. So then he calls up and he's like, fucking burn her. She killed her team and tell her where they killed the team. And they go to like the White Room and it looks like that one movie where the White Room was all the people who were like sperm and they were talking to each other. And they're like, all right, cool. We're doing the thing. We're fine. It's happening. We're doing the thing. She's bad now. And it was like, oh, she's fucking bad.
I'll say this though, if you guys ever go in for an interview and they're like, you're going to be working here, don't take that job. The all white room.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
at the very
That's
end
usually
where
a
it's
sign
like-
of a bad guy.
Yeah, you're in the bad guy's lair.
Yeah.
You're working for a bad guy.
All
you're
those
working
were
with that
getting
guy.
paid very well.
No.
Yeah, but at any point,
But they
that
can't go
building
home.
might
Anytime they try to
explode.
quit, they're killed.
Just ice.
If your boss is just a fucking vocalization on a wall, that's
just
trouble.
sound wave.
That's trouble.
Well, my uncle like owns a Staples. He wants you to manage it. Like, nah, we're gonna kill you.
Sorry, you know too much sperm man. And so then now we get the cool opening of Jason Statham, also in London, Rock over in what looks to be Santa Monica, but at Los Angeles.
The dual
obviously.
opening is great.
Yeah, and like they're
Yeah.
doing the different things, and Statham makes a nice little omelet, and Rock just makes a bunch of eggs and eats them raw, and it's like, yeah.
They're more similar than they are different.
I believe that's Rock's real dog in the bed when he's doing push-ups or whatever, and I like that little thing because I love his little dog from Instagram.
Poochie.
And they go, and then Statham goes to a bar, and Rock is whatever, I think working out or whatever, walking around. They both get a call. They're like, they're in, and it's a job. Everybody, we got a job, and so they go do their jobs in
Italian
L.A.
job?
And was Statham in that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I don't remember.
that was the nod.
back-
to
No,
New Year's.
everybody stop. I know the reference he made. I was just like, I don't remember. I remember Ed Norton and Mark Wahlberg
Ed
and
Norton,
Charlize
bad
Theron.
guy.
Gotcha. and Furious, yes.
We got information here, furious. So here's the facts of the furious. Facts of the furious.
If you pay attention and listen closely to a scene in Deckard Shaw's garage, when Hobbs and Shaw walk by a Mini Cooper, Shaw says he drove it for a job in Italy. Does this mean that Handsome Rob, his character in the Italian Job, was actually Deckard Shaw undercover? Quote, I always hoped that would get some traction and we could talk about it in online forums. Litch laughed, who's the director. Honestly, I'll leave that open to everyone's interpretation and what sort of mythology they want to put to it. For us, it was sort of a fun meta nod to the fact that Jason does a lot of car movies.
I thought it was great.
I just want to believe.
I liked it, and I hope that's true. And I just did not remember Jason Statham in that movie.
Yeah. Well, it's because I don't think he was as
famous. He probably wasn't famous yet, right? He hadn't done Crank or Crank 2, the movies that busted him out. You know what I mean?
They really did.
Was it not
good.
Transporter?
The Transporter, I think, is what put him on the map, right?
Yeah? Crank's the one for me.
Yeah. Anyways. Was that the same kind of Mini Cooper? I remember the Mini Cooper's not looking at it. It looked boxier. It doesn't matter. I thought it was a cool nod. We're way ahead of
it was
the
a
plot.
newer Mini Cooper that they had.
And
I think when the Mini Coopers came out back, and like they were trying to push them in the States, they put him in that movie. That was like an old school. It looked like an old school like 80s Mini Cooper. But
also, while we're here just calling out Facts of the Furious shit, is Ryan Reynolds in LA, right? The other CIA agent in London. Is that the mustached guy from Deadpool 2?
Yeah.
His name is Rob Delaney.
Delaney.
Yeah. He's a comedian, and clearly it's like Light's just putting people that he likes in his movies.
Gotcha.
Hilarious. But I love their back and forth where he's like, he beat me up at a bar 7 years ago. Doesn't remember me. So.
that line was great, but I do feel like some of the humor didn't work for me there because I couldn't. Rob Delaney's a funny fucking guy. I couldn't understand what Statham was saying in some of those scenes. So when Rob Delaney would reply with something, it's like I don't know what he's replying to because I couldn't understand what Jason Statham's lines.
Oh, I got it all.
know me. You're about to.
Yeah. So anyways, they're getting ready to go on the jobs. They each go to their different spots. Rock goes to some karaoke club. He comes in there. He drinks 2 tequilas, tosses the shot glass on the ground.
At the same time.
Very rude.
Yeah, very rude.
People
Rock,
are gonna
don't do
step
that.
on that maybe.
And
Like they're not bad guys in there. They're just trying to sing a song and have a beer.
Yeah.
But in the back, there's bad guys, and they're doing tattoo
tattoos.
stuff, and so
Nice
the Rock
tats.
fucks them up. Meanwhile, in London, he's marching into this like hoity-toity nice club, and I'm a champagne problem.
Hate that line.
I hated that. Yeah.
It's not good. That's the best you can come up with?
And I'll say this, like these two scenes could have been more fun for me. I didn't love the fight choreography in this. I didn't like how they kind of ended up. They just seemed like kind of filler scenes to like, hey, these guys are badasses. And I'm like, we know they're badasses. We've seen them in like 4 other fucking movies. We don't need these scenes.
I'm bringing the champagne.
It just felt very derivative and generic. And I didn't think any of the choreography in these particular moments like wowed me. I'm like, why wouldn't we do something more fun with this?
I agree the choreography wasn't that impressive, but I thought that visually I really liked the looks
I love
of the sets.
their intention of like we're gonna split this down and it's gonna be these two guys and you're gonna see how similar they are and like how, but they have different approaches to going about things.
opposed.
Like The Rock like tattooing him versus Statham's like
Hanging him
kind
out
of
the
fun
window.
way of hanging him out the window. I just felt like it was and maybe it's the whole thing just felt like it needed a speed ramp on it. Where it's like make it just a little bit faster and let's figure out some fun choreography because I think the problem I have now is and Tim you're not going to understand this reference but Andy you'll get this we're in a post John Wick world here. You understand
True,
me
Andy.
where
John Wick changed everything.
You watch the choreography in that and you're like oh motherfucker they really thought hard about how to do something fun here and I feel like we're in and this is not an insult to anyone that's choreography we're circa 2013 choreography in this movie
Same choreographer.
as John Wick.
Well,
Wow, they
that's
did the
why I'm
wrong thing.
surprised by it. Like,
I'm very surprised.
That's why I'm very surprised when I didn't know that
There's
David
a
Leitch
stunning
did the
lack of
first John
jujitsu.
Wick. I didn't think a lot of the fight scenes were done particularly very good.
No.
It wasn't like I don't know. It just didn't look pretty.
I don't think there was
thought
a
this
lot
was
of
the only
attention
one that
paid
I
to
didn't
it.
like. I thought the choreography in pretty much every other fist fight was really, really cool and creative and used them well.
We'll get to the 2 hallways.
I enjoy the 2 always.
Oh my god, I did not enjoy that.
It went on too long.
So yeah, they each get the pieces of information they need about this virus thing, and they're like, all right, cool. There's a virus out there, and we need to stop it. Awesome. And they go back to their things, and they're back to their real lives now and their families, right? And so Rock goes to lunch or breakfast pancakes with his daughter, who's really talented and good at school, and she's working on a family tree, but there's only 2 leaves because the Rock has told this little girl nothing, not even the name of her mother. What the fuck, Rock?
She knows nothing. Did he
world,
kidnap her? You know what I mean? It's two leaves and
Fast
another one
and
just has a
Furious
question
10,
mark
it'll
on it.
definitely be revealed. Back retconned everything. The reason
But
she doesn't know.
also, shout out to the balls on this kid who's like this. This is my family tree, Dad, and it's just her, him, and a question mark with a big fuck you. Like, tell me something about my life. Who am I?
Here's a photo of you, Rocky
Who are you?
Maivia, and he's got the little thing like, oh, yeah, it's my brother, man, Jonah, man, I don't talk to him much. And then Ryan Reynolds shows up. And then over in London, Statham went and talked to his mom or whatever, and like she's like, oh, it'd be cool if you hang out with your sister or whatever. It's cool to see Helen Mirren in anything, just like her in
is.
general.
I
you know
love
what
the
mean?
cheat day line though, really quick with the pancakes.
Oh, well, I'm coming back, but yeah,
yeah.
cheat day, cheat day.
God bless Helen
Again,
Mirren.
Instagram of The Rock coming to life here in this comical pancake shop. So on the way out of the jail, Delaney shows up and starts pitching Statham on the mission or whatever, and he doesn't want to have it, but then he slams a photo on the thing, and it's his sister. We'll learn later because his sister's the MI6 agent.
Bad cut. I should have showed the inside of the car with the picture
Yeah.
in the glass. I was
Sure.
like, that's weird. They didn't show that. And you know they got that coverage.
Then back
Maybe they
over-
couldn't put a camera in that unfucking believably cool McLaren.
Yeah.
In the Rockland of LA, Ryan Reynolds shows up. He's real funny.
What
a lot of funny
goddamn
stuff. I liked it when he did
moment.
it. We got matching tattoos.
So funny. But see, this is Fast
my
and Furious
God.
to me, where it's
Yeah.
just like when you get a genuine surprise reveal, where you're like, here's another character that I'm gonna absolutely love.
The fact that Ryan Reynolds is now in the Fast and Furious
Is
universe
great.
Yeah.
makes this movie 100% worth it.
And Kevin Hart.
Go see it.
Hell yeah.
Kevin Hart.
We haven't
too.
gotten
We'll
to Kevin
get there.
Hart
We'll
yet.
get there.
We
I'm
haven't
just
got
letting
to it yet.
we've you already talked about Kevin Hart. On
I
the
will
show.
say though, the Game of Thrones references didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
only
But
part
they're
of those
very dated at
conversations
this
that
point.
like
That's the problem.
I
We're
just
over
feel-
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I do feel like it was kind of like, hey, this is rooted in reality, and like you'll understand this, audience.
I think
wink,
that was
you know.
really funny when they shot it, which you can tell they shot that scene like the day after it happened.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, wait, this movie comes out like 3 months later. Is anyone going to care about Game of Thrones? Spoilers, David. Lynch. We don't.
So, anyways, they're all convinced that we got to do this. We got to go to this fucking CIA black site in London. So Rock gets on a plane and Deckard Shaw just drives over there.
I like the back and forth where he's like, does your guy, you think your guy's going to freak out when he sees my guy? Oh, yeah. That was pretty funny.
And sure enough, we jump to the black side, and they're like, and they're both yelling at each other about this fucking prick, and then they go do an insult off, which they had a lot of fun, I'm sure.
Every time they did the camera stuff of
Loved
just
it.
like the improv back and forth talking shit,
It's
just
your
like
face.
I don't think in any of the movie there was ever a moment I'm like that's laugh out loud hilarious. Like what they said was that funny, but the energy and I just believed it. I just fucking believed these guys.
And again, that's one of the good parts of the movie is just it's The Rock and Statham. It's fun to watch them break each other's balls, which they do a lot. And those are the moments that I'm like, oh, I'm having fun. This is good. This is good stuff.
Because you feel like they're just your
It's
bros.
like when it feels like
Friends
when we
that don't
sit
like
and
each
talk shit
other.
about Tim, and then Tim just puts his headphones on and like doesn't pay attention to us. That's the same fun factor.
yeah.
So they fight and they brawl and it's cool, and the other CIA guys won't go in there, and they throw a chair at the thing, and they're like, fucking, we're not working together. Fuck you, and they both break off. And so Rock then is like, I'm gonna stick here with the CIA people, and I'm gonna do this, and fucking pan, zoom, focus in on this thing. We're looking for things cameras can't find. Great, thanks. And then Statham just leaves. And
Finds it in
then
like 2 seconds.
exactly,
best
he's like,
tracker on the
oh, well,
planet.
exactly, he's the best. So he knows where there are no cameras. She's gonna go there. It turns
You
out
look
there's a
where they
hotel.
eat.
She went to this thing. She stole a
where
bunch
they
of
eat.
stuff. She comes out in a different outfit, looking all different. And then the Rock's out there, and he's like, I want to do that. But he's not being aggressive, Rock, right? He's being very much like, hey, we're on the same side, Rock. But he doesn't say that. He should have just said, I understand you didn't kill your people. I understand you're being set up. I've been set up too. Let's talk it out.
Yeah,
You
but
know
then
what
we
I mean?
couldn't have a very long fight scene,
Very long fight
which
scene.
Excellent fight scene.
ends wonderfully.
Perfectly.
But
He
it
just
and
holds
it's-
her up.
Yeah, it's just so good.
Right before that, when she is like choking the shit out of him,
Just go to
she's like,
sleep, just go to
"You're
sleep."
gonna fall asleep now, and it's all gonna feel like a bad dream." I was like, "Dude, good job setting this character up like a
the
little
scene.
badass."
I thought it was great. I thought the choreography
Yeah.
was really good, and I thought it was shot well. Like,
Meanwhile, there's a juxtaposition
CB
here because Statham went to her apartment. He didn't blow up the place because, of course, he's like, I know my sister. She's going to have dental floss all over the place with grenades tied to it.
That's
He
a
went in
bang.
there and he had a fucking awesome. He just went in there and she has this awesome apartment. I want this apartment where everything's just
Cool
coming out of it. You know what I
compartments,
mean?
yeah.
Exactly. There's
Yeah,
no
but
he's
reason.
been in the game.
Every
He knows all
compartment,
that.
if it was your
Yeah,
apartment,
probably
every
helped
compartment would have a
set it up,
Ghostbusters toy in it.
It's fair.
You'd pull it
My
out instead of
proton
a
pack,
giant,
definitely.
amazing monitor.
Bunch
It would
of
just be a
Funko
proton
Pops.
pack.
Portilla. Sleeping in a little bed. And then, bad guys show up there, right? And so Statham has to fight all them. He's fighting them. And he's
I love
brawling
how in
around.
this movie they're everyone is just faster than anyone else trying to shoot them.
Yeah.
Where
There's
it's
three
like-
guys. 3 guys on him
Was
with
it,
guns.
Was it 3? I think it was 2.
No, there was 2, and then the third guy showed up somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, wait, is there a third guy in this apartment? It doesn't fucking matter.
But it's
He
just
beats
like,
him up. I didn't need this fight scene, but I like how it ended. it's the same with the Vanessa Kirby thing. Is I would have liked that to have been a little bit shorter, but I like how it ended. All of these scenes have good moments in them. Like when Statham dives through the thing and puts it in, I'm like, oh, that was cool. That was a cool moment. But him boringly beating the shit out of 3 other guys, I'm like, come on, guys. Like we don't. Every 5 seconds, these guys don't have to get into a fight. Let's just move this fucking thing along.
So we cut back then over to CIA HQ or whatever, right? Or the black site, not the HQ. I apologize, everybody.
I forgive you.
Thank you very much. Rock and the sister are there. I think Statham shows up. They're all arguing and having their
No.
things or
The
whatever.
Rock is having he's interviewing her, and that's when he reveals. He's like, I know you didn't do it.
Yeah, but he
You
should have
know?
said that a long time ago.
And then,
he goes out to take the phone
You weren't
call.
fighting to kill me.
She beats the shit out of the other guy in there. Rock goes in there, pulls the gun. Statham comes
just
in. He
jumps
pulls the
on
gun.
his
Everybody's
face.
pulling guns. Everybody's got guns out, and they're yelling at each other and like, holy shit, blah, this is fucked up.
By the way,
Can't
what are
believe-
the guys in the background doing? Not
They're cowards. They're cowards.
Like,
Remember-
yeah,
I'll
they're
tell
just
you-
walking around. Like
I'll tell
they
you what
don't
they're not
notice
doing.
it.
Looking at the security monitors for the rooftop.
Also,
Because
I-
there's like 8 guys up there ready, like putting
Bolting
these
shit
gigantic
down,
shit
yeah.
into the roof.
I
so
enjoyed
cool
the conversation
looking.
between Rock and her, right, where she's like, "You're not CIA. It's either what espionage or intelligence," and like she goes.
There's
through
nothing
it.
subtle about it.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot
Good
of jokes
line.
to the Rock's size in this, and I'll tell you, I don't appreciate that.
But then, yeah, sure enough, there's a giant explosion. Black Superman comes in with his other dudes, and they're like, "Oh, yeah," and they fucking pick her up, and they start running down the side of the wall, and then Jason and Rock get up, and they're attacking people, and they're throwing shit around, and they see people running down, and Rock's like, "We gotta jump," and this is from the trailer. We gotta jump, and Statham's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, on 3," and he jumps. Nobody tells me what to do. All right, weird line.
Dick move.
Goes
Weird
walk,
line.
get in the little elevator, and goes down it, and then it's the same trailer stuff, and them swinging back.
It's
forth,
not the same
slam
trailer
thing.
stuff because they put more cracks in the glass so you couldn't see him mouth fuck you.
Yeah.
Like in the red band or in the first trailer, he clearly is like "Fuck you," as and it was a funny beat. And this one, for whatever reason, they covered it up. And I was like, oh, that's weird.
But you still got it. You still got the vibe.
Yeah,
I mean, I got it because
laugh.
I watched the trailer.
Sure.
And I'm sure everyone else in the movie had seen
Rock's
that part
just
in the trailer.
jumping 14 stories down,
Oh,
landing on people.
This is like the first moment. Like, this is Fast and Furious movie, and let's
Yep.
fucking go. And they had something to prove, and I think they did. They're like, we're gonna up the fucking ante from him jumping from one person swinging, but then jumping down again,
so great.
and then the last one going through. It's like, come on.
But it's
so
okay. He
stupid.
landed on a car.
He landed on a car.
Everyone's fine. We know.
We have
Right.
already established that if you land on cars, it saves your life.
But is there anything cooler than running down a fucking skyscraper?
No, man.
There's not.
I will say the setup was especially cool. When they are about to jump out, and then those 3 things get shot
That
out
was
and
cool.
timed perfectly.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I love seeing like future tech and what people think that the future tech might look like, and that was a really cool addition to it.
So they get down there and people are running away and they got cars and motorcycles and there's chases and driving and stuff to that effect. You know how I am with action scenes.
But
Shit's happening.
it was fucking awesome, and this is like the choreography of
This
the
was
chase
a-
was great.
I'll say this: this
Incredible.
was a fun scene. I like, but I at the end of it, I was like, why did I like that so much? Oh, because he's in a cool car and he's being chased by a cool motorcycle. This is Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
I like that element.
The score hit in, and it was the first time in the movie there was actual like orchestral score that was backing up very Fast and Furious-esque, like
Yeah.
do-do-do-do-do-do,
And I
the
think
fucking going.
the way this culminates, I think, was very creative, and
Oh my
that's
God,
what
it
I
was
like.
amazing.
Where he goes around and like punts him into a fucking double decker.
so
That was cool.
good. I was so
Like,
excited, but I love the motorcycle. Like I love him with this motorcycle,
fucking
and we
cool.
haven't really seen
Since
motorcycles
Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
we haven't seen a cool
It
motorcycle
sounded like a
since Dark Knight.
transformer though.
And it was
Yeah,
the
they
sound was
legit
great.
used that sound
When
effect.
it comes to the bad guys, I loved the visual language and the sound design that they did for everything. Like every time he moves and you hear the like shit and like the of the motorcycle and those lights that they had on everything. Like everything they used had those like
It had
just
an aesthetic
rows
to
of
it.
an aesthetic, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this is dope as fuck. It looked like the Dead Space mask.
Yeah.
But him having this motorcycle that like it drove by itself and would like meet him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like his friend. It was like his
great.
buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a dog.
The 2 trucks going by, them drifting underneath it, packed into a little car. It goes through,
yeah.
but then the motorcycle, and he like dives
Jumps
back.
off, yeah.
Except for the other guy who didn't make
Yeah,
it.
no,
he got
he just
He's
He's not Black Superman.
That was actually well shot. Whereas like you see him going through, and then a subtle corner of the screen, the guy just smashes
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
side. I was like, oh, that was
So-
I
brutal.
thought it was very well shot, and like,
brutal.
it kept it wide enough that you could see and understand the action. And that's the biggest crime that these chase scenes commit when they fuck them up. And I thought
Yeah.
this was
This was a
masterful.
fun chasing.
Nick, you'll
For sure.
appreciate
For sure.
this. The scene ends with Idris Elba crashing through the bus. There's a giant hole in the bus, right? And Idris Elba stands up, he throws his helmet down, he's like, damn it, he's pissed off because he lost them. And it's silent in the theater because it's a serious scene, and you just hear
It was so fucking funny. I love that scene.
The only one laughing.
Where he just
Why was that funny to you?
It's like a fucking cartoon.
It was ridiculous.
Punched
Yeah.
a giant hole through this thing. He gets up, he throws his helmet down, and he's like, "If you want
shucks.
war or some shit, like, yeah,
But
I'll give him a war."
He
It's like,
also didn't just say that. He like is screaming it. He's like, ah! It was so fucking
so
funny.
good. It was so, and this is what I love about this movie is that it has these cool, awesome moments that are juxtaposed.
I don't think
with
that
the
moment was supposed to be
fucking
funny.
humor.
It was 100% supposed to be.
No, him getting up and screaming was supposed to be like an intense moment.
Yeah.
I don't think it was supposed to be funny,
no
dude.
way.
It's not funny as like a haha joke, but
Yeah.
funny of like this is Fast and Furious. This
Yep.
is so over the
Over
top
the
and
top.
stupid. And they're committing to it.
Yeah.
The Looney Tunes cut out hole in the bus
Yeah,
was
it was
like
so good.
reminded me of like when someone jumps through a door and you see the outline like this giant fucking void in a bus. Yeah.
So they got away. Congratulations. They go hide in an archway, and then meanwhile,
They
Idris
that
Elba.
beautiful car behind.
Yeah, Idris Elba calls into the white room of sperm people, and he's like, "Fuck them, fuck them, fuck them, fuck them,
Burn 'em
fuck
all.
them."
We've got the ability
Got
to
it.
burn
Fuck
'em
it.
all.
We're putting it up on every news site right now.
In 15 seconds, it's done.
Boom.
You
They're
would
all,
think-
all the major things are up there, and they're the bad guys.
You
I
would
was like,
think
oh,
all
well.
those people that were in the CIA headquarters would be like, "That's not what happened. We saw bad guys come get them." But like, they
Well, if
didn't
you
kill
remember,
everyone.
that's the thing that I found interesting and weird. Of like, usually in the fast things, when they get burned and blamed for everything, everyone's against them.
Right.
But is it just Ryan Reynolds, or did all of the CIA understand?
No,
Because
I
when the
think
Rock's
all
on
the CIA hired them because at least 2 agents knew what was going on. You
No,
think they
no,
would've
no,
come-
no. You're misunderstanding my question. Rock calls his daughter, and Ryan Reynolds is on the phone, like, "Hey, you know that thing where we might get blamed? We got blamed, but everybody knows it's like." So all the CIA, it's just the public.
Yeah, I
and
think
the
it was just
police,
fake news.
but as CIA understood.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it's also like they're out in public. I thought we were gonna get way more of it. We got to start hiding, fucking gorilla. And like, no, everybody's still just out there talking about everything.
Yeah,
It was
I
great.
appreciate like
That
that
was
that
weird.
stuff is fucking weird, and who cares? Like that's always just bad guy stuff. But I appreciate they didn't use the shot from the trailer of Idris Elba like Zordon
Oh, on the-
style
yeah,
on
yeah.
the building like saying shit.
I never
Thank
saw
God
that.
that wasn't. in the
I
movie.
don't remember.
Yeah,
I
it
will
was
say
like
good
him
for
on the
the-
screens saying like, your sister stole shit from me and stuff like that.
I will say good for the news outlets to have such very different color schemes to differentiate themselves so that you know that there are
Fair.
We
different
got
news
the orange channel in
outlets.
China. We have the blue channel.
So Statham's like, "All right, come on, guys, we got to go back and get everything fixed." So they go back. This is where the cars are. They go to the pub, Carpenter's pub, and it's his place. And it's like he's got his secret cars there and the Italian job cars.
I didn't understand that they were. He was busting his balls. He's like, someone's compensating for something. He's like, I'm undercompensating. You're like, what?
His
What?
dick.
No, I get that as a dick reference. I don't know. Having a bunch of cars is undercompensating.
He should
Anyway,
have more.
He's like, this isn't enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
My dick is way too huge.
Big dick.
Exactly.
for all these stuff.
But a lot of good back and forth here too with
Yeah.
Vanessa Kirby and shit. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and they get new identities, and there's clothes in the thing, and they give them to everyone, give them
I
old
like
stuff.
a
give
little
them new
touch
names.
here is I like that he's taking their pictures as they're
Talking.
Yeah.
talking, and they're like, "What the fuck's going on?" And in the back of the computer, it sees you photoshopping them out. I was like, "How do we get that program?"
It has like the
Do
suit.
you know how much time I
immediately?
spend photoshopping you assholes out of the background for pictures for thumbnails?
We
At
have cool
least
friends
5
walls.
minutes a week.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's what I thought. You.
That shit took me forever though.
Anyway, so they're
Doesn't
like,
look
"All right,
like
cool.
it."
We've all got new identities. We've all got passports. Rock has a funny name. It's a weird name. I don't
Mike
understand why.
Coxall.
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah.
And so then we
Mike
go.
Coxwell?
They're gonna fly commercial, and so they go there and they're all checking in and their new names and new identities. And Statham's got a little hat that's very cute. And then Rock's got a Mike Coxmall.
Mike Oxmall.
Yeah. And so
I wish,
with their
I-
British accents, it sounds like they're saying Mike Coxmall.
I wish he had a wig. I wish he would have given The Rock a wig.
Yeah, I wish-
I was expecting something really, really ridiculous. And really, I mean, he still looks silly as hell in like a super tight jumper or whatever the fuck he had, like the tracksuit almost.
Yeah.
You know?
I like Jason Statham's backstory, where he's an architect / ski instructor or whatever it was. I was like, that was fun. That was real fun.
It's such a dumb beanie.
I love beanies like that.
Hey, I love
they're
it.
very
you
they're
know?
very
That's just
Scandinavian.
what I do all the time.
Exactly.
And so they're right, and it's like, okay, cool, we're there, and we got it, and they're going through, and then it's like, well, The Rock got detained, of course, because of his small cock, and they're like, all right, cool, we're gonna get away now, and we're on the plane, we're Statham and his sister, and then The Rock shows up, and they're like, oh no, how? And he's like, oh, I'm got something you don't got, I'm charming, people like me, and then he turns lady, he's like, I like your babushka.
Yeah.
And she's like,
That's
"Oh,
cute.
that's fucking awesome. That was
I
fucking
also like
awesome."
that the sister was like, "Why would you do that? Like, we need extra help for this shit."
And then we get the great scene on the plane where they start arguing with each other about it, and he's like, "You're you are gigantic. You know what I mean? Like,
I saved the world
everyone knows
4
what you look like.
times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's 4 times. It's great.
Hey, Josh, it's our new
Because
PA.
I'm so fucking good at it, he said.
So,
It was
such
like,
a
yes!
great back and forth here between Statham and The Rock. Everybody's having a good time. And then Kevin Hart pops out. He's the air marshal, right?
Because they were about to fight on the plane. That's the conversation was going. Hey, are you ready to fight right now?
30,000 feet up.
Yeah.
Oh, what 30,000 feet up right now?
But I am
Good.
surprised that like I feel like a lot of their back and forths in prior movies haven't been great. But in this movie, I feel like they were always at least good.
Yeah, yeah.
And then at times they were laugh out loud funny for me, where like a lot of I'm waiting for the line that's like, that line didn't do it for me. But it's constant. And
I think it's
good,
an energy
funny.
thing. There's
Yeah.
a few
That
they
didn't
went back
do
at
it
each
for
other
me.
and they would always equal what the last one did. And I thought they did a great job.
And then we get the next, one of the greatest moments in the movie where Kevin Hart turns around and he's just a fucking air marshal.
But he's also like, listen to me. He's like, why are you talking
That was
about
awesome.
That was
Whenever
my
he
normal voice.
switches
That's not
into
your
it.
normal voice.
That's funny. So good.
It's fun. That was fun. The fact that they got Kevin Hart and Ryan Reynolds the cameo in this.
Yeah.
What a fun thing.
That's what this franchise needs to become. I was telling Joey like after the movie ended,
It's like a
like
Dean Martin special where you never know who's going to show up.
yeah, exactly. Like we're getting to the point where it's like, are we going to
good
space?
reference.
Are we time traveling?
There's
Going
so
to different
little left
universes,
of this, yeah.
multiverses? Like, what if we just keep getting awesome cameos and shit? That's what I want to see out of this franchise.
Yeah.
And this movie like further supplanted that
Opens the
idea.
door.
Yeah.
I love that they're also giving all these people backstories where they're like, because Kevin Hart was some like, what
Delta,
team?
he was
Yeah.
a Delta or something
They
like
were
that, and they were like,
wizards or
and they had
something?
the throwaway line was
Or-
like, you guys are chameleons or some shit like
No,
that.
Magicians, I thought.
Magicians, that's what it was.
It was
Warlocks.
Warlocks, because you guys do magic with your hands. And not only
Dumb
that, we
line.
also with Ryan Reynolds, he was also like, oh, we fought together, right? Like,
But no, Ryan Reynolds' backstory, you don't know if you can believe it or not, because like we've been friends since childhood.
Oh my God.
the best friend necklace.
That was awesome.
He's like, I don't wear the other half of that.
But yeah, you're right though with Kevin Hart. Like
Yeah.
it's not only his past with the military or whatever,
Right.
but he also makes reference to at the end of the conversation of like, whatever you need, I got it. You need airplanes,
Right,
helicopters,
that set
like
that up.
I can
Yeah.
supply all this shit.
If
for
he
you.
becomes the new Tej, like that's going to be the best thing ever.
I don't want to new anything. I want to
Yeah,
keep the
yeah.
guys too, but what I
No,
do
no, no.
want.
I mean, so what they're doing here is they're forming a whole other cast of Fast
yeah.
and Furious.
Yep. This is the
And if
Guardians
he
of the Galaxy.
If he is the Tej in that group, I am 100% in.
And
100%
someday
in.
we might get the Expendables that
I'm
just
so
brings
good with
everyone
that.
from all the
No,
teams
dude,
together.
The next movie, if this does well, which I'm assuming it will do, is going to be Ryan Reynolds,
No.
Hobbs and Shaw, and Kevin Hart. That's going to be the cast. It's
I
going to be
hope
fucking
so, yeah.
awesome, and I
Hell.
will see the shit out of that
Yes.
I think we might have missed a beat. Right
And
now, we're
Vanessa
on
Kirby.
the plane going to the Ukraine to go to the facility that the doctor told us about, or we're going to see the doctor. But there's a doctor
we
who
already
knows how
saw
to
the
get
doctor.
Okay, so he told to get the things out. There's this machine in the Ukraine. You got to go get.
And then
Oh,
Idris
yeah,
Elba
the-
goes and sees the doctor because I think that was
Then
in
he
London.
kidnaps the doctor
Yeah.
and takes him to the Ukraine place. So we're all going to the same
Shoots
place.
him with
the
a fireball.
doctor was one of the characters. I was like, I don't feel like he's bringing much to anything.
Yeah.
I thought he was
I
gonna.
thought the acting wasn't great either.
I thought the doctor was gonna be another celebrity cameo.
Me too. Me
Like
too.
when
After- because it was-
they kept on showing glimpses of the
That dude's
phone, I was
been
like,
in
oh,
stuff,
it's gonna
though.
be like fucking
Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
that guy's a like
He's a
we
good
all
actor.
know his
Yeah,
face.
he's been in
He's
a
a
bunch of
character
stuff, yeah.
actor.
Yes,
that
but
we've
he's not
seen.
Ryan Reynolds or Kevin Hart. They were
Yeah,
setting it up like that was going to be the reveal.
Yeah.
So we're in the Ukraine now. Idris Elba's there. He's got the machine, the doctor, the whole crew of white sperm people. They're all there. They're all doing stuff.
Please stop calling them that.
I just calling them like I see them.
just
Just
what
calling them
it
like
is.
I
Why
see
dress
them.
like a
You know what I
sperm
mean?
if you don't
Part
want to
of
be a
the
sperm
universe,
person?
Exactly. Every sperm's just looking for an egg, Kev.
If I went out with a dolphin fucking on my back, you would call me Dolphin Boy. I got there. I got there. I'm glad you did there.
It's like when you're trying to
was
climb
worth
like
it.
a muddy rock face. But you got over. You got over.
I got there. I was proud of myself.
So yeah, by hook or crook, right? They get there and it's the facility, and they're trying to figure out how to infiltrate, right? And they do another one of their. They already did the other Keith Moon. And now they're talking about the Mick Jagger.
Mick Jagger, yeah.
And so like the sister goes and gets kidnapped, right? MI6 gets kidnapped there, and she gets brought in. They like, we got her. We're gonna fucking pull the shit
wait,
out of her
first
hand.
of
They
all,
go to the
Russian
mansion
stuff.
with the
Yeah.
unbelievably
Oh
cool
right,
girl
yeah,
gang.
the lingerie model super squad of
Yeah.
soldiers.
Well,
Sorry,
that-
my bad.
It's weird that she's on the poster.
I hated this.
Is it beautiful woman, beautiful
Is it
woman in
weird?
lingerie?
Yes. Stunning.
Yeah, sure, but
so
like I
good
feel
looking.
like they put such an emphasis on this.
She's
when
in
he
a
was
lot of
even
the trailers
making
too. I
call.
thought she was going to be
Yeah,
a main
me
character
too.
going
She
forward.
wasn't.
Nope. Not in the rest of the
but
movie.
she had a crew of girls that like were just
I'll tell
fucking
you
up
what,
these
though.
Russian guys.
If I had access to them getting stuff for me, I would utilize that service a lot.
So here's the thing. Gia told me recently about this thing called the Mendel test. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
The Mendel
Howie
test.
Mandel
David
test?
Mindell, mind freak.
It's not a mind freak thing. I might be getting parts of this wrong, but it's
That means
a
you
thing
definitely are.
I think she heard this from this podcast called "You Must Remember This." That there's this woman that like looks back at Hollywood history and kind of like tells the different stories of people.
Oh, that's cool.
And so this old thing where essentially it's a test on how women are being portrayed in movies, and it's a very simple test of do two women at any point speak to two named women in the movie speak to each other about something that's not love. Let me tell you that this movie fails the test.
Oh, I don't think
And
I
on
don't think
top of
two
that,
women speak to each
two
other at
women
all in this
do
movie.
not speak to each other.
Except for at the very end with the grandma and the grandchild.
But they don't even say words to
They
each
don't
other.
say words.
The grandma says like something like my
yeah.
grandchild or something like that. They have a
Yeah,
very
but
different
I guess
scene.
you're right.
But it is about love.
Yeah.
oh shit!
Yeah.
But not
That's the thing.
romantic.
Not romantic love.
But not
but
romantic love.
It's just something. It was
Familial
so
love.
interesting. Where like when
20
I
years
watch movies
married.
now, I'll like
Chameleon
just
love?
think and just try to see like just because it's interesting to me.
Familial.
And watching this one about halfway through, I'm like, oh my god! Like Vanessa Kirby's like the only woman that said anything until the mom. It's weird to think about.
Well, I guess she has a scene with Helen Mirren as well.
At the end, but they don't talk, right?
That's true.
They talk. I mean, she talks.
But they
in the
love each
scene.
other.
No, I think that they talk in the scene, but isn't it what's his face sliding over the cake with the C4?
It's a bad idea, by the way, too. Isn't she still an MI6
Yeah.
operative?
I
You
imagine
can't be breaking people out of prison.
Yeah.
That's the thing I thought. I was like, what about your
Pulling the
career?
Brian O'Connor.
What about
Brian
your career?
O'Connor? She's
But
seeing
the
how the
reason-
other half lives.
Also, where's Owen? Why don't we
Yeah,
get
it's really
any
weird.
Owen
But the
at
reason I
all?
bring this up now is because like when we got to the match, I'm like, okay, here we go.
Wait,
Oh,
time
no.
out too. You're talking about Owen Shaw,
Yeah.
the other brother, right?
Owen Shaw.
I didn't understand this line in it when Decker Shaw is yelling at Idris Elba. He says it like, "You made me kill my brother."
Yeah, he meant him.
I think he was his brother. Like,
Thank
I
you.
I
was
apologize.
like,
His
Because
brother.
when I was like, "What happened to Owen
he
Shaw?"
actually immediately says you
I was
right
like,
after.
did he kill Han and his brother? This guy's just
getting deep.
icing
Re-
people.
Really
like-
quick, Tim, I think the test you're referring to is the
Howie
Bechdel test.
Bechdel
The
test.
Ben Mendelsohn
See?
test.
I knew I
Yes,
was going
there
to
we
get
go.
something
You
wrong.
still
Didn't
get- still-
expect it to be the
it's a
name.
test,
Still interesting. You still brought a great
How does
point
Ben
to the
Mendelsohn
table.
talk? He's got that. He's got that lisp, right?
Ben Mendelsohn.
I don't even know who this is.
It's the bad guy from Rogue One. I will say this.
Oh!
I thought I'm like I
Gary
like
Whitta.
that they're creating this world where this like all like female gang is badasses or like taking. I thought it was fine. It's just I was like, oh cool, we're gonna do something with this. And it was just a little weird that they didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
There's
They
a
only did
badass
the
team of
trailer.
lingerie models, and they turn her over to the bad guys.
Yeah.
She was
I mean, she's literally robbing a
driver.
mansion of guys in a bra. But good for her.
Oh, she's the one who ran with John Hamm at Baby Driver. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Are they setting them up to be the antagonists of the possible
they're just-
female Furious movie?
Maybe.
Hopefully.
I doubt
Okay.
the antagonist. I could see them teaming them up with some.
Well, I feel like it'd be similar to like Rock and Vin, where they start in a bad place and then get to good. Not behind the scenes, but
Let's put it
publicly.
this way: it's not entirely impossible rather, that Idris Elba doesn't get invited to the barbecue at some point.
That's what I was saying,
Let's
dude.
just put it that way. He's not dead.
When he's talking in the sperm people room with the robot voice and Idris Elba has a line. He's like, "Are you threatening me? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
are we about to
Yeah,
fight
yeah,
right
yeah.
now?" I was like, "Oh my god, Idris
Like
Elba's
he's
gonna
also
become."
talking to a box like
Yeah, right.
wall.
Like, you don't think
Wave.
he could just sit at a desk with a headphone?
Yeah.
Like
the scariest of all villains, an LED wall.
So they turn her over, bring her in there. The doctor's there, the machine's there, and then Rock and Statham are like, "We're gonna be there too." And they got a fighter jet. They go up there, they bail out of that, they parachute in, very last
cool.
second parachute in
Fucking
to like a cooling tower for the nuclear facility, and then
we have
they're
the callback of like nobody tells me what to do when he takes him out of the shooter.
Exactly.
I enjoy that very much.
And so yeah, then they land there, and then they've got to infiltrate, and they got the gun that sees through the walls, and they're gonna go through this door, and then they want to switch doors, no backsies, too many people.
Oh,
in
you
there.
got a lot of bad guys in inside that door.
And then they go to open the doors and immediately throw away their see-through like.
Don't
things.
need anymore.
It's
They
like,
knew there was
but-
one door.
All
One door
right.
for this joke.
No, dude.
So yeah, they go in there. Rock beats up the big guy. Statham
punch
fights
is-
in a bunch of littler guys.
Yeah, I respect, by the way, how much explosives they packed into that little tiny Roomba
Yeah.
that they put on the wall.
Had to
I was
do.
like, that's a big
I did-
explosion for a little tiny Roomba.
I did think the movie was going to sort of flip our expectations because in the trailer, The Rock just immediately has one guy. And
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
just assume it's just one dude. I like the trailer never sort of intimated that this was a tall, gigantic guy, right? Did it ever?
Like you kind of got the. I mean, I think I remember seeing
Yeah, I
the guy
mean,
taller than
I
the
remember
Rock
seeing
in
him as
the
a big
trailer.
guy.
I guess when I
don't know if he
first-
was taller than the Rock.
I guess when we first saw him, I was like, oh, this is actually going to be a fight. Like the trailer always made it look like it was going to be the super simple thing for The Rock, and we're actually going to get like a cool fight scene here. But it was still like, no, just one punch.
Yeah,
and
but
the guy
you knew
fell
the second
down.
he picked up a wrench, you're like, you don't know how to use that wrench. Only Dominic Toretto knows how
Yeah.
to beat people up with a wrench.
A lot of people picking up wrenches.
Don't know me, but
So he knocks out his guy. Statham knocks out the million other guys in the other thing. Then we get to the comical, fun moment. I didn't like we were talking about this earlier, the things. I didn't enjoy the fight. I thought it wasn't working for me.
I think this is another one where they could have upped the choreography a little bit in this, where Statham was. I just didn't think there was anything special about it. It went on for a while, and then we get to the fun, the actual fun part where they're slamming people's heads against the door.
I wish they.
And I like the editing in that part.
I wish they would have leaned in more with Statham like zip tying them together with those. I thought that
The
was
slap
gonna,
bracelets?
I thought that was going to be more of like
Those
a
are
comedic
cool.
thing because they were getting like
in
tied
the-
into a knot, and I was like, oh, like by the end of this, they're all going to be in this, and like
One
they
big
never.
ball that he has to
yeah,
roll.
It's like that scene in The Dark Knight where he, for whatever reason, the SWAT team just stands there and lets him tie them up with the ropes. Where he's like, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, for like 15 minutes. Then he kicks one of them off and they all fall off.
Yeah, this movie it does a lot of weird things where like there's the rule of threes in comedy where it's like, something's repeated 3 times and for maximum effect and just kind of feels right. And I feel like this movie many times just
a rule of
does,
nines.
It does I think it does 2. Like, I feel like it's just like we have
He slammed like 15
2
people's heads
flashbacks.
against the wall.
We have the Keith Richards thing and then we have the Mick Jagger. It's like, okay, it just felt weird where like it felt like they were building towards something and then we never come back to that. And this has the same thing where it was one person he pushed up and then he tied 2 together and then he went to tie 3 but then it didn't complete. And I was like,
Yeah.
it was weird because like there's like
That's fair.
You're supposed to the choreography should be telling the story and I feel like they like went off on it.
But it's
I
one of those
definitely
things-
thought the Mick Jagger and Keith Moon things would have been cool if they were cool, but it was just like, the Keith Moon thing, and it's just them blowing up a safe. I was like, oh, like I thought there'd be more of
Well,
a
we get a
reason.
little bit of the payoff where he says if you were in a band, you'd be Mick Jagger, except for the fact that the Rolling Stones are still together, and I don't think they ever broke up. So I don't really. I get that it's a reference to that. I just wish they'd have picked a band that was a little bit more
Broke up?
like explosive, because the whole concept was like
Guns N'
you're supposed to
Roses.
be like like Axl
Yeah.
Rose is supposed to go off and be a dickhead, leave the rest of the band around. While
Wasn't
they're
that a
doing something
reference
else.
to the Mick Job thing that they?
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. He knows that.
What I'm
He's
saying
just-
is,
it doesn't matter
as
at
a
all.
name
Got it.
for a band, if
got
you're gonna, the plan was we're calling it the Mick Jagger, which is I guess he's gonna dance over here while the band does something else. But I just like you should have picked someone that was a little bit more crazy as a band, in my opinion. It doesn't really matter. We're splitting hairs. What I didn't like about the scene was they do the face thing. I thought it would have been a funnier beat if it was boom, boom, hits it really hard and the face works instead of
Rather
doing
than
like
doing 90
grabbing
faces.
every single other guy. But it kind
But
of.
they
like the editing,
finally
though.
get the
Editing was
doors
good.
open, and then they're there. Everybody's there. All the bad guys are there, right?
Dude,
Oh my
I went to the
God.
bathroom at some point. Shocker.
Yeah.
Did I miss
I
the
saw you
point?
there.
Why? Oh, you did. And then I saw each other back. I was like, hey, how's your
We were
screen
at
going?
different
He's like,
movie showings, and he was like, "How you liking it?" I was like, "I'm liking it," and he was like, "I'm like 30 minutes in," and at this point, I was like maybe an hour in or
Yeah,
something.
long line, man.
You
First
missed-
time ever that I hit a line.
When
in the
you
bathroom. I was
left,
like, oh,
you
no.
did miss a plot point where the voice told Black Superman, "Hey, I want these guys. You're not allowed to kill them. I want
Okay.
them on my team. Just flip them." We
Did
like,
at
can't
any
turn 'em.
point they set up why there were 2 hallways that needed 2 card keys?
because there's 2 of them. It's much like Wolfenstein, Youngblood, where
Yeah,
suddenly
there you go.
there's a bunch of co-op mechanics and boxes. I need another
A
person.
lot less sliding in this, though.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's a
good
reference
point,
to Party.
good
Point.
Party wanna watch it.
They get knocked out by the bad guys. They wake up, and guess what, everybody? They're tied to electric chairs, like thing. Meanwhile, on the other side of the thing, the sister, the MI6 agent, has broken out of her bonds. She's making her way across.
And then
Cool
the,
scene.
the doctor dude's like, that was impossible, and it's like, all right.
I do,
hated that line.
like that he
Yeah,
was like
what-
he pulled a knife on her first and like, oh, she's gonna have to fuck this
And
dude
then he
up,
cuts
and then he
open
cuts
the-
the thing. I was like, oh, this guy, and then he goes nuts with the flamethrower in about 15 minutes. But
We didn't
He
get
just
the-
gets
we
his
did-
neck snapped.
what
we
I
did
don't,
get the rule of 3 with her and that line of like, how long have you been working here? Like, because she, we got that line 3 times, which I
Yeah.
appreciated.
I'll say this: I don't love the way this the electric scene was shot, because it was shot in such a way where the backgrounds of both reverse shots were the same. It was guys, and it was very confusing to figure out. At some point, I was like, because he kept walking around
Who's
them.
The Rock? Who's Jason?
No, legitimately. So the scene starts with The Rock on the left and Statham on the right, but when we cut, they're doing a flat cut on the line, and this is a perfect example of like how difficult it is to keep that line straight of where the camera is, because if you cut directly to the other side of it, they suddenly switch places. So at a certain point, I looked away and I looked back, and they were on the opposite sides. and there were guys behind them and guys in front of them. So every time they turned around, it just literally looked like they were transporting to different sides of the thing. And I was like, you needed to put a different background there for reference for the audiences, because as Idris Elba walks around, the camera has to naturally follow him walking around. Otherwise, we're looking at his ass as he's talking to him. So it was just a little bit weird. The scene was fine. It didn't necessarily need to be overshot that way, but I just thought that was an interesting like mistake on the filmmaker's part.
I thought it was interesting that they set up, which was funny, but like the whole like, I'm gonna beat up this dude, I'm gonna beat up that guy, and then
they didn't
Statham being like, I'm gonna beat up this guy, and it's like, but then they didn't.
I was
there was
okay
no
with
payoff
that.
to that.
I was okay with that because I feel like the
stalling.
joke was funny, and then the everything, like the way that the choreography happened after that, I enjoyed. Whereas like if we did see that, it'd be like, it's a little too on the nose, where it's like that's what we expected.
I
So
wanted
it's
it,
subverting
though.
Yeah, I wanted it
expectations
too.
of
I
it.
wanted
Yeah.
them both to get one dude and just be like,
I mean, they
could
could have done it
both do
so fast that they could have been like, "Oh, I'm gonna break," because they do some of it where he's like, "I'm
Yeah.
gonna break
The arm off the chair.
and I'm gonna slide out of these chains, and I'm gonna," and then they just don't do the whole
The
thing.
sliding out of
It's
the
just
chairs
disappointment.
was ridiculous because like they cut and it's like a top shot. We see the Rock break out of it, and then Statham just kind of looks like it's all undone.
Yeah.
He just kind of gets up.
It was weird.
It's
Also,
like,
they
all
set
right.
up the fact that no human being could possibly take more than 3 of these electrocutions, and he's like, or 4, and he goes, "We could take 5," and then they take 4, and it doesn't really do anything to
Well,
him.
they take the one, and he's like, fuck. Oh, that sounded a lot cooler when I said it.
That was cool. I like
I thought
dialogue
there was
here.
going to be some sort of payoff. Whenever a character goes, no one, like your bad guy says, no one can possibly take more than X amount of something, you expect that we need to see what makes our protagonist so special that they can actually do that. We don't. They just take more of them. It's like, okay, cool. I guess we'll just, why even bother torturing them at all? Like,
I think if anything, it was, and I'm not agreeing. I mean, it was a good device at all because I was expecting them to be more worn down as that went on, right? But they keep recovering each time. I think it was more to get to that final time when like they won't flip, and Idris Elba's like, "Fine,
like,
see
one
you
more.
guys later,"
Last one.
and he goes do it, and then like that's like the impetus of like we understand there's a countdown of like we're running out of
yes,
time.
but when you put something out there like that as a device, it needs to be menacing, or else it doesn't mean anything. And at no point did anyone in that theater think if he shocks him for a 5th time, these guys are going to die.
Sure,
Yeah.
fair.
No one thought that. He could have just kept shocking him all fucking day long. And it's like, what? There are no stakes in this scene at all because you just keep shocking him. He's like, okay, well, we're just going to keep witty back and forth, and I'm going to go smash this guy in the face. And I'm like, guess what's going to happen? In about 5 seconds, he's going to go smash that guy in the face. And he did, but he didn't smash the other guy in the face. And Kevin and I got super disappointed in different
Very
theaters.
disappointed.
So yeah, great dialogue here. Then Rock's gonna flip. No, you're not gonna flip. You're Mick Jagger. She shows up. All hell breaks loose. They're all fighting. Everything's happening. Everything's going. Doctor shows up, burns Idris Elba down for a second to give you a chance to get away. They get away. They run away.
By the way, it's at this point that I started recognizing, I was like, this movie is getting a little long.
Yeah.
Because this scene, they still have to escape this thing.
Yep.
And then I realized they still have to go to Samoa. And I was like, oh my God, please let this just be a quick getaway. And it was not a quick getaway.
No, it goes on for a while here. They're
a very slow
fighting. They're
getaway.
running. She's running on things, jumping off
was fast
things,
and
doing
awesome.
this thing. She gets
She's
in
in
the
a
thing.
very big truck that's not moving that fast.
Yeah, but like there's like a
The dune buggy stuff was
giant
cool.
city collapsing, and yeah, the dune buggy where it's like, oh, we're running out of road. Fuck it, let's just go up the side of this building and now be on like the inside of it. I thought that was
Motorcycle
awesome.
chase shit. I loved all this
And
stuff.
then the end where the dune buggy lands on the side of the on the
The
trailer.
back of the truck, yeah.
And gets pushed
And
off.
he just
by the
walks
columns.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I think that could have been done better. I think it would have been cooler if he landed and literally walked out as it was being knocked off. But there was like 4 or 5 like seconds where he walks off, like straightens himself, and then it gets knocked off. It's fine. That's a personal choice.
I thought I agreed with that choice. I thought that made it stronger.
I just thought I think a lot of the choreography in here it could have been slicker, and I would have liked it more.
We saw the best motorcycle transformation scene though in this part where everything's falling down, where it's literally where he's off the bike and Idris Elba's like slides or something, and it comes up next to him, and it's like,
Dude,
it
I'll
looks
say this
so
though.
fucking awesome.
This is a total non sequitur. I'm sorry we're getting long, but like there's a series I love called Robotech. They did another series called I forget. It was like the 3rd iteration of it where they had these cyclone machines and they would ride them, and then as they needed to fly, the machine would form around them into like a mech. And I thought that was going to happen in this. I thought at a certain point he was going to hit a button, it was going to form around him, and he was going to fly. And I was like, they missed opportunity, David Lynch.
Coward.
Cowards.
They get away, and then hey, we gotta go somewhere. Oh, this thing's broken. The thing that can suck the pellets out of her, and she's running out of time.
Yeah.
And we had a time limit for all
And
this
how
shit.
did it get broken? It bounced in the cabin of the truck.
No.
And then when she was literally falling in a fucking helicopter in about an hour, thing's totally fine. because I guess his brother like made it super.
It got broken because a giant tower fell and broke the trailer in half.
It was in the cabin of the truck.
Yeah, and it
bounced up and snapped into the ceiling.
I thought something came down and smacked it.
No, it was in the cabin of the truck,
sure.
and there's an insert shot where it goes boom, and it sits on it for a second, and you're supposed to know that broke it, and then they pull it out, and he's like, it's been broken. And
Only
then
one
she
man
literally
can fix
crashes
this.
the helicopter. In
Jonah,
5.
we got to go to Samoa. How are we going to get to Samoa? You don't even say that. But then there's a helicopter going to Samoa. You're like, wait, they're in the middle of the Ukraine. How did this happen? They answer the question immediately. It's your boy, Kevin Hart, on the other end of the phone pooping, and he got him there because he's got the hookups. Yes, thank
I
you,
missed
Kevin
that.
Hart.
You didn't
I
see
went to
that?
go pee for this.
That was a good scene.
It was good.
Dang.
He's like, are you in the bathroom? He's like, don't worry where I'm at. I'm bringing the heat anyway.
Exactly. My office is wherever I am. So yeah, they get to Samoa. They drive over to their house, and Rock's all like, oof, he can't eat it. He's like, oof, he's got psyching himself up to
They
open
have
the
a
door.
great. They have a great moment where she's like, where you see them as brother and sister going back into where they used to be, where they sit back for a second. He's like, I'll bet you $50. He punched him in the face. He goes, I'll take that bet.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Sure enough,
I will
Jonah
say this
opens the door,
also.
punched him in the
Samoa, beautiful.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love the set design of their thing. It's very rustic, very cool. I just. Like, I liked a lot of this stuff. This is the part where I'm like, oh, I wish we'd have gotten here about an hour and a half ago, but whatever,
Sure.
it's fine.
So yeah, he gets knocked down by Jonah. A whole bunch of other guys come out, including Roman Reigns. The mom comes out. She's like, don't punch him. They all talk. We're going to do the thing. Fight's coming here. We got to do it. I'm sorry. This is where we're getting the backstory about his shitty dad. We've already kind of covered this earlier.
Why was Roman Reigns not his core brother?
Because we
He's probably not a
talked
good
about this
actor.
earlier. He probably just can't hold the scene.
But this guy could?
Dude, he was great.
I
That
don't
guy's a
know.
great actor.
I didn't
That
buy
guy
it.
is a good actor. I didn't feel like he did anything crazy.
I think Vanessa Kirby and that guy were a smart casting choices to put next to The Rock, because I think they're such good actors. They help elevate his game, and that's not a knock to The Rock. I just think that
Feels like it is.
like that guy was
don't
the
like
fucking I forget his name. Hey, Barrett, can you look up his name? He was like the
Jonas.
the gang member in Training Day that like almost kills Ethan Hawke in the fucking bathtub, and it's the most terrifying scene you've ever seen in your
Wow.
fucking life.
Yeah.
And then sees his niece's wallet, and he goes, "Where did you get this?" Like, that guy is a fucking great actor. So
I just didn't buy it in this one.
really,
Yeah, I didn't feel like
I liked his hair, and he's living my dream life. He's retired, and he has a custom car shop on a cool island. That's exactly what I want to do.
Wow.
Curtis.
I did not recognize him
Curtis.
at all.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit. He's got the giant beard and the pigtails.
Oh, was he in Sunshine?
Oh, he's in Avatar 2,
He's in
3, 4,
Sunshine?
and 5. So wow, good for him.
Why are they doing that?
Because everything sucks.
He was in traffic.
So we are there now. He explains the whole thing. The fight's coming to us. We got to do this. We got to come together as a family. You're always family here. This is Samoa. Okay, cool. Here's the chop shop. You forced us to do it. I had to do something after our fucking criminal dad got thrown away. I
and
want
we were
dad
very
sucked.
successful at it.
Exactly. You know,
Very
he's
successful. People
fucking
really
great,
like
right?
it. Around the world, Tokyo, London, it's like,
And you know how you know it's called Hobbs is because every car has a little badge in it that says
Yeah.
Hobbs
Yeah, I
Customs,
appreciated
and we
that.
cut to it every time a new car comes in.
Also,
It's a weird editing
my
thing.
favorite line in this movie is here when Statham comes back in. It says something snarky, and Rock's like, "Go put on another jacket. It's 115 degrees outside."
110 degrees outside. That was a good one. That was a good one.
So they're there, they're doing it, they're getting ready, they know what's happening. The sister is like, "Oh, hey, I can. Let's go get weapons." There's no weapons. It's from the trailer as well. They all use the chip. I can reverse engineer the chip, turn off everything, allow it to fight hand to hand with us. Great,
6 minutes
awesome.
with no guns.
Awesome.
Another thing that kind of throws you off from the trailer, where you see the trailer and you're like,
How
how
are they
the
gonna
fuck
do
are they
this?
going to fight
Yeah,
this
yeah,
army
yeah,
with
yeah,
guns?
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you're going to hack it.
They'll
That's
deactivate it.
smart.
Jonah,
That's
meanwhile, is convinced he's 3D printing shit for this the pellet sucker, and he's gonna get this thing all set up.
it's just so funny that, like, my brother's the best mechanic. He'll fix this
Yeah.
machine.
Dude,
that's-
Tez used to run races. Now he's a world-class fucking hacker.
but I feel like they always set up Tej as like a.
It is. I will
They
say
do
this:
not.
it's not that it doesn't take a fair degree of mental aptitude to work on cars, but it is a different science.
Yeah.
Of like computer science versus mechanical
But I guess that
engineering, different disciplines.
I can change your oil. Like,
But Kevin, he did have a dope 3D printer
Great 3D printer.
that prints like clear plastic.
Yeah, that's the
and
new kind
fucking
of stuff.
cool.
It's
That's
really
cool.
crazy.
They're setting up traps all over the island. They eventually tell us, like, this is the kill zone. If everything else fails, we'll fall back
No
here.
man's land.
Which is a heartbreaker for me, because eventually in the fight, when I'm like, all right, this has got to be, oh, fuck, we haven't even
we
got
got
to no man's land
still.
yet. Fuck!
And here's the thing: the scene keeps going, and you're like, okay, we're getting to the fun part with the cars. That's cool. And then but at a certain point, you're like, This is not it. They have to fight hand to hand.
Yeah, of
There's
course.
no way they can beat this guy in a chopper. They got to get on the ground and fight hand to hand.
So the dudes show up. They all start fighting, like we were talking about. Well, they show up right in there. It's the 30-minute thing we were talking about earlier. She's got the fucking backpack on with it all sucking her pellets out of her. Time to go out there and fight. We get the moment with Rock and Jonah being like, "Hey man, cool. We love you. I love you." They go out there. They get to do the whole like ceremonial, like wow, and it's fucking awesome. That is awesome. I like that moment a lot, where they're all doing
Rock,
doing the
baby.
chants and they're like pounding and doing like the real Samoa war shit.
But here my problem
Where
with
did he
that.
go? This is the one time we see abs in this. I got
hate
one
Andy.
job on this podcast.
All of you with your tiny ass bladders. You know what I
Uh,
mean? Just don't drink so much during the show.
Tell you what, We'll skip the thing. The Rock looked fucking fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I can do it for
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Were they born in lambs? Now it's time to rank those abs.
Welcome back to
KFF
the rank
sucks.
those. Was that
Doesn't he
last
say
part?
that? Doesn't he say that?
I don't think he does.
Oh,
I
sorry.
think he's on the show. Welcome back to the Rank Those Abs podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Nick Scarpino. Today, we saw, sadly, only one set of male abs in this. I thought Statham was at some point going to take his shirt off and show us how
Said he kept
jacked it.
putting on coats.
Because usually his body is unbelievably good in these movies, but maybe they just didn't have an occasion for it. Unlike The Rock, who for no reason took his shirt off, and then they were like, "Hey, Rock, you can't be shirtless the rest of the scene." So he just randomly, as he's climbing onto the back of the
grabs
car,
a
starts
gray
putting his
tank
shirt
top
on.
on, man.
He stops the fight to go get a fucking Heather Gray shirt. And you know what? If it wasn't Heather Gray, it would be unforgivable. But it's Heather Gray. Forgivable. We give him a pass.
I would have loved
The
it,
Rock's
though.
amazing in this. He looks amazing in this.
I would have loved it though when that whole change happened. I was like, I would have loved if he just like stayed in his like garb, and at the end of the fight scene or whatever, he's just like kind of naked.
Well, yeah,
Like,
there
oh,
was
shit.
there's a moment at the end where he pulls off the, is it garb? Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying? He pulls it off, and I was
see a
like,
big
oh
dick.
shit, yeah, we're just gonna see fucking The Rock running around
Yeah, I
naked.
appreciate that someone's like, traditionally you wouldn't wear pants with these.
Yeah.
And Rock's like, that's a whole different kind of movie. If
Sirens
if the Gila Monster shows, then
Now, my only problem with the chanting scene is that like they're like, okay, once this gets activated, we have 6 minutes till they reset it.
Fair.
And instead, they wasted like 2 minutes.
But did they already try to shoot yet
yeah,
at that
they,
point?
Like
Okay.
right at the beginning, they're like, just shoot him.
Yeah.
And that's when they're like, they don't work. And it's like, all right, you have 6 minutes. But then they keep going. And it's like, all right, guys.
But
Well,
it's
you gotta
also
get in the head.
confusing
Psychological
because
warfare.
way to use.
Yeah.
they
if I saw
say
The Rock
it
come out
take-
with a club, sorry.
They
go ahead.
say it only takes 6 minutes for them to reset, but then before the sister gets kidnapped, like the time when the sister gets kidnapped, it's 10 minutes into this fight, and then the guns don't activate until
way,
the
way
chase
later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like that whole setup was
That was
very
odd. That
Well, I
was
did
odd.
appreciate when
Bad.
Idris Elba asked the one guy, like, when can you get these back online? The guy's like, I have no idea.
Yeah, that was funny.
I just shoot these.
That
I'm
guy
not-
was useless. I turned to Gray. I was like, that guy's definitely fired after
Yeah,
this.
totally.
I don't love this scene. Jason Statham tearing around and lighting it on fire, I thought was cool. But then it just kind of goes into like a weird. We're just gonna
Fighting.
another like
Big fights?
not that creative fight scene where we get a lot of the signature moves of Roman Reigns. I presume that was one of his moves.
Not really.
You
Not
get a
really?
Samoan drop.
The spear?
Yeah.
Didn't he spear someone?
Yeah, but like,
Did he?
I didn't see
did
anything
it like
that it
3
was like
times.
that's Roman Reigns. There was like wrestling moves, but
Yes,
it's like
he
The
never
Rock
did,
did
he,
the
did, he never
thing
did that
moves.
punch, right?
And like
Yeah.
slams him
Superman
down.
punch.
Yeah, but
I
like
thought that's
that's-
a wrong. That's not a wrong move.
and it's not. You
So
know,
like all this stuff, I was like, oh, they're setting up this cool
Right.
scene where everyone has to fight with clubs, and we didn't really get anything creative with the clubs or anything creative with the hand-to-hand combat here. Doesn't matter. And then for whatever reason, instead of hiding, Vanessa Kirby kind of she spends the whole movie being this really smart, clever character, and then just randomly like runs around like a chicken with her head cut off and runs toward the fucking helicopter, and then they just capture her. I thought that was a little weird.
So they're taking it off in the helicopter with her, with the pellets in her hand, and the Rock and the boys are like, the fuck you are, and so they chase it with the tractor or
then 7
the
hours
tow
goes by.
truck, and then they throw the hook around it, and they're like, we got him, and it starts like lifting off, and they're like, we need help, and so all the other Samoans they start coming over, and they're just like instant boom.
So ridiculous.
I didn't
love
pinpoint.
it.
And then the last car has the thing that just that
Yeah.
comes up from the back of it.
It's got the Kevin of the group where it's like small car, big dude, and he's just like, and I was like, yes,
we're
I'm in
gonna
on
need
this
some
scene.
more weight. It just cuts into this
This is a big
dude.
dude.
This whole scene, I was so fucking hyped.
I meant like you guys have
Yeah,
beard
yeah,
and the
yeah,
hair.
whatever
I mean
it
the
is.
visually.
adrenaline of just the one up.
Yeah,
And
that was
then,
fun.
Again, like this movie, if it succeeded at anything, it's that like Fast and Furious often does, we see things in the trailers and we're like, they're showing all the best parts. No, they don't. There's always more. There's always some extra element to it.
This was cool. Although I do wish we hadn't seen that shot in the trailer, because that was like the coolest shot in the whole fucking movie, where it's all 4 of the cars skidding off and there's like 1 car left. I was like,
crazy.
That's so cool. But you knew it was coming, and you knew that's how this scene was gonna end. And I was like, that's
Hit the nos, baby.
Did we see
Holy shit.
That's when it was like, all right, we're bringing this back to the universe, man. Fuck yeah.
Did we see the?
It's sad. I wish there was just a little bit more of the car nos stuff in this, because that's so true. That's so typically Fast and Furious.
I think
love
that
it.
was the perfect amount.
This scene was fun.
Did we see him catching the helicopter in the trailers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I totally did not
It still
understand
got
why.
me.
Like, again, they keep zooming in on the Hobbs logo in the cars. So every time a new car is introduced, but then one of them was like Chevrolet. Like, why? Like,
Sponsor, man.
It was so weird.
I don't know.
So yeah, it starts to get away. The chain breaks. Rock grabs the chain. Jason gives him a little break action. They puts it back together. Hooray! Then they're doing the whole thing. They finally get to the kill zone or whatever. They're firing off all the shit they put in the ground.
That shit's cool.
You're really cool.
That was
Not firing
awesome.
up shit. They put barrels of gasoline in the ground.
Awesome.
And they just shoot upward. I was like,
Eventually, one of them knocks into the helicopter. It tumbles down. The guys tumble down after him too. And here's the final fight now at the base of a waterfall. And it's all It is literally.
cool.
It is as if for this one scene, they're like, you know what, Zack Snyder, why don't you film it? I totally desaturated.
I thought it was
fucking raining on it.
really cool. I thought it was beautifully filmed. The only thing that I
Just
had
like
to
a Zack Snyder movie.
I just literally shut my brain off for was that am I crazy? The helicopter tumbled down the hill, right? And she was not secured in that thing.
No.
And we just find her. She's like
the
I'm
water
fine.
a little bit.
She's all right. We find her on the rock. She is like, I think she landed on a rock. And the machine's totally.
You can't think
I
about
wish
those
she would have
kind of
landed
things
in
too
the
much.
water.
Also-
and then he dragged her out because Idris Elba surviving was fine. And again, leap of logic in here. We just saw 4 fucking cars chained together with the thing. I just that was the one thing I'm like, dude, she's got to be dead. Oh, she's not dead. Okay.
Also,
There it is.
a lot of people don't know, in a given 3-mile radius in Samoa, there's 14 different environmental biomes.
Yeah.
And also day-night cycles also. Like
They had set up there's a big monsoon coming, which is why it was dark. That was my perception. It didn't turn to
did
night.
say that.
It was just
Also, they
that
could've been
side
on-
of the island had a monsoon coming.
But
Yeah.
that could have been the eastern side of the island, and then you're not getting sun. You know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Also, it looks
that's
cooler
how sun works. You know,
Yeah, it is.
angles, man.
When it's Zack Snyder.
One thing that I was like, oh, that seems like a bit excessive is when they like crash. Right? Idris Elba goes to the one surviving guy, and like. Takes his
slap
helmet
in his
on,
face.
slaps him.
You
He's
die
like,
when I
"What the
tell you
fuck?"
to. You
He's
die when I
like,
tell you
"Fine."
to.
No,
Mind
dude,
you,
be cool.
the guy later in this scene clearly has a concussion and brain damage because he's like, he
he's
can barely
fucked up.
stand.
Hey,
But it's like, like, this guy's gonna die.
He's like,
in a
I should have
second."
taken that job at Staples with my uncle. Yeah.
Idris Elba, he didn't lie, man. You die when I tell you to. When this thing hits 0, you should kill her. And when this thing gets extracted, you kill her. That's the stake for them. Or whatever.
Empty that clip into her chest.
Oh, governor in it.
Governor.
And
I love his accent.
so then, he walks over there. He talks some shit to them. The thing's counting down. Eventually, it hits 0, but the guy, he's all concussed or whatever. So she fucking clowns him out and gets over there.
She shocks the helicopter, which causes it to
like gas
explode.
flies
But
over.
she's fine.
Just a
Meanwhile,
little pop, just a little explosion.
Yeah.
we got the fight over
Very
there now
directed.
with Rock and
Punch-Punch-a-roo.
Statham. Oh, the what now?
The punch-punch-a-roo.
Punch-punch-a-roo, as they call it, the official terminology. We've talked about it a little bit.
I loved it.
They're getting owned for a bit, and then it's like, we got to work together, idiot.
Oh my god!
yeah.
It was just the fucking funniest thing.
So
like they
fucking
just
funny.
did it. Like they did the power friendship thing, but in the dumbest, best way possible.
I
which is,
loved it.
I'll take a punch, you punch him. You take a punch, I'll punch him, and it's like, okay, just do it.
And we're
they
just
did it.
we're supposed to forget that Idris Elba was like a superhuman and like. And at
No. We're not supposed to forget that. We're supposed to believe that, and that these guys teaming up can punch that
Can't
strong.
punch him.
Yeah, but but like also his punches are really strong because he flipped over a car that was on him.
Yeah.
Also, a giant
He caught a
smokestack
car
fell
at
on
one
him, and he
point,
was
right?
totally fine.
Yeah.
I will say this: this is his kryptonite.
That part was
That was-
great.
there you go.
Yeah.
That
There you go.
line was insane, dude. Like
that line was awesome.
The people next to me were just like, "Whoa!" Like, whoa!
But like it being followed with him getting his back like broken, it looked like
yeah, it was
was so good.
I'll say this: they got me on a very nostalgic note with this because this reminded me a lot of the scene from Lethal Weapon 4, where Riggs and Murtaugh are about to fight Jet Li, and they're like, "Let's just go," and they start walking away, and then Murtaugh's like, "How did he do that thing with the gun?" And he's like, "Fuck." I guess we got to go back and ask him. And then they get the shit beat out of them by Jet Li for like 15 minutes. But then they beat him because they work together.
Friendship.
I never liked that he was like, you got some blood on you at the end, where it's like, he's dead. He's dead.
The guy had fucked and beat the shit out of them for 2
Idris
hours
Elba has
straight.
lost the fight. It's clear that he's like all short circuiting and shit. And so then Voiceman back at Voiceman HQ is all like, it's fucking over, decommission him. And he's like, decommission. And Idris Elba's like, so that's how it is or whatever.
That's
Got
how
it.
it
I
is,
thought it was a
Governor.
sad moment of like, oh man, he got fucked.
And so he tumbles off the side of the thing. He goes in the water. Probably
Will
not
he
dead.
return?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
If they brought him back from the
Yeah.
dead before, they'll bring him back from the
He
dead
better.
again.
He's amazing.
Hell yeah.
I love listening to him talk.
And there you go. Success, everybody. We've got the virus. No T-virus getting out of this place. Rock, by the way, kissed her at sunset before, so they imagine they're going to be kissy, little getting all over that
I
place.
don't think so.
And so there we go.
don't need
It's
that.
happened, everybody.
Yeah,
We've won the day.
The kiss was before the fight started.
Yeah, it was when she was like, "This might be my last
and
sunset."
it was very like.
Yeah, no,
this is
I'm
forced.
very.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
And so that's the end of the movie.
I didn't love the end. I hate when movies do this. Like I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of the Transformers
Walking
movie
into
do
the
it,
sunset.
where it's just kind of like holy shit, fight. They win the fight. It's like, cool, it's over.
Yeah.
It's like I like a little bit of exposition,
Epilogue.
like a little.
Some
well,
levity.
But they
Yeah.
sort of did that in the credits.
But I mean, that felt cheap. Like I feel like either commit to it or don't. Like it kind of being the side by side. Like there was too much information to keep up with what was going on.
My guess is someone was like, it would be really touching because I thought that moment where the kid meets her grandmother for the first time was a really touching moment. Like that actually got me. You could tell that was like originally in the script, and someone was like, we are at minute 2 hours and 15 minutes into this. Let's just end this thing. Let's get it over.
And at one point, at the end, we do get that like, I'm like Batman, you're like my Robin. What's the second line that he says though? I'm like something and you're like my, but it's like it's a joke about like a big and small guy or whatever.
Yeah.
And that kind of made me laugh. But then it was like dialogue fading out.
Oh, it
credits.
was Solo and Chewie, I think.
Yeah, that's
Really?
right.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And they're reunited with grandma. The
Helen
Rock
Mirren.
is working out, and he's got a huge anus or whatever, so he's walking out of the bar
I
there.
didn't need that scene. It was,
Those cops
I didn't need
are
any
gonna
of
get
these.
fucked
I
up.
didn't need any of these.
Those cops are gonna get fucked up. poor
exactly,
guys.
right? Yeah, like,
Yeah.
kill these guys.
but also we get the Helen Mirren scene with them, which was fine.
She gets to see her kids together.
I just not that we give a shit
But
because
where's
they could
Owen
change.
again?
Some
But
of
I'm
the
like,
kids.
Why is Owen not there?
But what is Statham's like? Is he a good guy in this world now? Is he an operative now? Because they're calling him up to do these jobs.
I mean, he got his like record sponged in 8, right?
yeah. So he's fine, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like he's a cool guy.
But
He's
did
not gonna get
Owen
arrested if he
his
walks on the
record
street.
Sponged?
And then we get Ryan Reynolds. There's another virus, and it's going to do this, and it's more jokey joke
God, I
time.
loved it.
This one melts your outsides. it's like wearing a silk kimono in the rain.
Is this the one that's the? Is this the one where he's like
Goddamn
talking to the daughter, or was that earlier?
that was like the next post scene. It was like, you
Final
guys
one
sound
was-
exactly the same.
I don't know. That was hilarious.
I like how they call them
put
Becky.
your father on for me.
Like, seriously,
And then
you
the
should
final
record
one's a
it.
brick through the chest or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we're
Yeah.
done.
Oh my
How to
God, the
break
brick
through
through
the
the chest thing.
It's finally
I
done.
killed him by putting a brick through his chest.
All the post credits were really funny. It's just like use this to set things up.
Yeah, that was-
Yeah, I know. That was my
really-
thing where
really
it's like,
disappointing.
Nick and Jen were like, can we go? And I was like, no, I want to see how they tie this to 9. And then I was like, fuck, I should have gone.
Yeah. I can't believe it. I can't believe they didn't reveal it was Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
Behind it, like just something little.
I mean, yeah,
Like-
I really think they just don't know who it's gonna be yet.
Which I'm fine with. That if it's not Charlize Theron and they just don't know because they're gonna end up casting John Cena or whoever the
Yeah.
fuck, you know, like yes.
There were moments where
No, it's John
the
Cena.
voice kind of like the voice modulator kind of cracked away and you heard
A little bit, yeah.
something there, and
Yeah.
I was like, I was trying to figure it out, you know.
I
It's
even
a
looked
woman,
it up
man.
and I couldn't.
Like I've said, every single time I've ever seen them do this voice modulation shit, it's always a woman if it sounds like a dude.
You think it's Mia?
always. I think it's Charlize Theron.
I think it's Mia.
Bring back Kurt Russell.
Could it be
Be an amazing turn for
his
me.
daughter's mom? Because she was like, "I'm from your past."
That's good.
You
That's
shouldn't
good.
have
it was a question mark
kidnapped
on
my
it.
daughter.
Let's do a little bit of ragu bagu.
7 syllables in the middle. You need 5
No.
for the
No,
first
that's
and last
the wrong
one.
line. That's the wrong one. No.
Oh, they said
Ragu.
haiku in review.
No,
Ragu
He said-
bagu.
Oh, I heard it wrong.
It's
I heard
okay.
it wrong.
It's okay. You've been on.
Ragu. Get your shit together, bag.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys, Volume 3. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside my co-hosts, the Hispanic heartthrob, Andy Cortez.
What's up, Greg?
And
No, I
the
think-
glue, Kevin
Yes, there
Coelho.
it
Am I in this one?
No, you're not. You can go
Kevin
away.
was on this one?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yep, 100%.
I don't know if he was.
No, I was. I was.
It's confusing.
Nobody knows.
And nobody at this point. Who cares?
Yeah.
Just let it be in there.
What
you know what I
volume
mean?
is this?
This is a spin-off. Hobbs and Shaw is a spin-off Ragu Bagu. You know what I
Gotcha,
mean? What's the
okay.
matter? Of course, this is the podcast within a podcast where we rank the Fast and the Furious villains. So far, Ragu Bagu stands like this: number 8, Carter; number 7, Johnny Tran; number 6, DK; number 5, Cypher; number 4, Braga; number 3, Decker Shaw, and then in parentheses, for reals; number 2, Reyes/Toretto Gang; number 1, Decker Shaw. Because we had Decker Shaw wrong. It's
Yeah,
Owen
we got
Shaw
the
we
name
meant,
wrong.
but we never fixed it.
Yeah.
Where do you want to put Black Superman himself, Idris Elba / the weird gang or the weird
Sperms.
Yeah, but what
The robot. sperm boys.
Etienne, is that what it is?
Eddie.
Yeah, Etienne.
Etienne.
Somewhere close to the top, right? I mean, it's better than the Reyes gang.
Which one was the Reyes gang? Which movie was that?
5, I think.
Was that the guys
The
going
Brazilian people, right? Or was that 4?
the Reyes Toretto gang?
I
assume that was the one where we were racing through
That
the
was
tunnels.
4.
4.
Okay.
Okay.
Huh.
You think he's?
I'd say underneath
Yeah.
Braga. I don't know.
That's where I go too.
Like, because
Really?
Braga had that cool like monologue about like
Braga was
Brazil.
cool. Braga was cool.
Yeah, he was.
I love Idris Elba. I just don't like the.
I like that
For
now
me-
there's this overarching like I think with the last movie where they really was like they connected even Braga to Cypher, and it's like I think that this is gonna work as an even larger thing where Cypher is part of this. So I don't know. I think it's cool what they're doing, and I'm excited to see more of it.
He had cool action scenes.
And I
a
liked
a ton of them.
I liked overall the idea of this indestructible man that Decker had like killed.
Don't worry, just let go. Just don't worry.
What?
So we're going underneath Braga.
Undestructible. It's the same thing. He can't be destructed.
All right, so the new standing, everybody, is number 1, Decker Shaw; number 2, Reyes/Toretto gang; number 3, Decker Shaw
just
for
fuck
reals;
me in.
number 4, Braga; number 5, Black Superman; number 6, Cypher; number 7, DK; number 8, Johnny Tran; number 9, Carter. It's a vote. Me and Andy agreed on where it goes. What do you want? You got outvoted. Start your own podcast within a podcast. I can't help you all the
What's
time.
the difference?
7 syllables in the middle. You need 5 for the first and last line. If you're not poetic,
Indestructible has
no English definition. What did I miss?
Haikus don't need to rhyme. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Haiku in Review. You can write your haiku reviews by going to patreon.com/kindafunny, just like Randleton did. Randleton says, Hobbs and Shaw are back. You now know spoilers, Jon Snow. Wow, Ryan Reynolds. Blackjack says, Mike Oxmall fucks. Shaw's sister, she knows what's up. Hobbs and Shaw never sucks.
Well, he made a rhyme too.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Extra points.
Didn't need to.
Yeah, it didn't need a rhyme.
Yeah. Kale Dolphin Corn.
Oh my god, this kid. We've been making fun of his name the whole week.
Oh my God, this kid.
I just love that he's jumped in on everything. Good for you, Cal.
Man becomes machine. Enemies become brothers. Locke becomes my fave. Yeah, also, Locke's a badass name for
Yeah,
Ryan
it's a
Reynolds.
great name, dude.
Super into it. Trevor Starkey says, who would have guessed it? Mike Oxmall and Hugh Janus beat Black Superman.
I like that. I like that.
There you
No, Dolphin Corn in the chat
go.
saying, okay, Kevin. My bad,
All
dude.
right,
I mean, it's just
now
a
it's
good
time to
name.
rank the Fast and Furious universe. The current rankings are as follows. Number 1, Fast and Furious 6. Number 2, Fast 5. Number 3, Furious 7. Number 4, The Fate of the Furious. Number 5, Fast and Furious 4. Number 6, Tokyo Drift. Number 7, The Fast and the Furious. Number 8, Too Fast, Too Furious.
I'm having trouble with this one.
Yeah, this is a-
I
this is
named
a
9
tough
something
one.
dumb.
I don't know
One time
whether
I did.
this goes 4 or 5 for me.
I think
It goes 4 for me.
I put it at number 4 as well.
Above
but like
Fate?
in
Yeah.
my heart, it might be number 1. I found this movie so funny, and that's such an important thing for me. But I think that for this ranking list, 4 is where.
Like I was saying earlier, it's like it is like a greatest hits album, and I can make an argument for it being number 1 because of that. But I love 6, 5, and 7 so much. I feel like Fate is a pretty large drop down from 7,
Yeah.
and I think this is great. So I'd put it at number 4.
I would put it probably. I mean, I like the movie least, I think, from everyone sitting here, but I would still probably put it above Tokyo Drift. So I would probably put it at. I'll start the bidding at 6.
That's what. Yeah, I was going back and forth between 5 and 6 for it.
4. Interesting.
I mean, I really like 4. If you guys remember, like 4 was one of the.
That's the Braga
one of the
one,
ones that
right?
I was so surprised that I really that
Is
that
5
struck
the one
me.
you didn't like?
5 is the one that we'll call it it was the transitional film that I had some issues with.
Yeah.
And
you were
again,
just talking shit the entire time.
talked a lot of shit about it.
Yeah, I love that.
It had a lot of biggest problems.
It's number 2 on our list.
But yeah, I know. Yeah, but I firmly expect to get outvoted based on how much you guys love this movie. I just don't think I enjoyed it as much. And again, my criticisms, a lot of fun. I definitely think people should go see it. If you're a Fast and Furious fan, obviously you have to see this fucking movie. I just feel like some of the action wasn't as creative as it could have been, and so that for me it ranks a little bit lower down on the list.
I'm curious, Barrett, where would this sit?
For me personally, if we're going off of this list,
Off this list?
I would have to say above Fate of the Furious, under Furious 7. For me personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now it's time to vote. Who thinks it's better than Too Fast and Furious? Raise your hand. Everybody. Who thinks it's better than The Fast and the Furious? Raise your hand. Everybody. Who thinks it's better than Tokyo Drift? Raise your hand.
I guess I just leave it out.
Oh, everybody. Who thinks it's better than Fast and Furious 4? Me, Andy, and Kevin. Who thinks it's better than The Fate of the Furious? Me, Andy, and Kevin. Who thinks it's better than Furious 7? None of us.
None of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, the rankings are now. Number 1, Fast 6. Number 2, Fast 5. Number 3, Furious 7. Number 4, Hobbs and Shaw. Number 5, The Fate of the Furious. Number 6, Fast and Furious 4. Number 7, Tokyo Drift. Number 8, The Fast and Furious. And number 9, Too Fast, Too Furious. One day we will do Fast 9, whatever they call it. I just really hope they don't call it Fast and Furious 9. I want them to have a stupid name for it. You know what I mean?
9 ball.
And like 9's gonna be a hard thing to work in there somehow.
99 red balloons.
There you go. They're racing on hot air
How
balloons.
does his mind work?
Niner, Fast and
Very
Furious.
simple,
Niner.
Kevin. 9. I think the first
But
thing that
you
pops in my
said
brain
it
that has a 9 in it.
twice.
99 red
So
balloons.
now it's 99.
It's got a 9 in it.
Joey hates our list. Joey, why?
sucks.
She'll be on the show.
I
She
think
had her
7
chance.
and 5 are so
She had her chance.
good. Like the top 3 for me are like so fucking good. in
She's
this
only
franchise.
saying that because she hates how low Tokyo Drift is.
Oh, I see.
It's just they got better after that.
I have a special place in my heart for Tokyo Drift as well. It actually hurt me to put this above Tokyo Drift.
But here's the thing, like
it's just-
the main character is
All right. So a lot of people have
45-year-old.
been asking what we are going to be reviewing on Kind of Funny in Review for next up and just for the rest of the year. So here is a little trailer thing for the future.
Enjoy.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
fucking
Quit
excited.
asking.
Yeah, quit asking. I hope you're excited about this.
by the way, great lineup.
Oh, fantastic.
Great lineup.
We're
God, I
going to
can't
be
wait.
doubling up a little bit. Obviously, there's not enough weeks in the year to do all this, but we will be starting with Harry Potter. We're going to do Harry Potter 1 through 8, I guess you call it, 7 part 2. We're not going to be doing Fantastic Beast yet. We'll be doing Fantastic Beast leading into Fantastic Beast 3 whenever it ends up happening. For anyone that's wondering. Frozen, it's just going to be Frozen 1 and 2. Terminator, we are just going to do, I don't know what universe they're calling it, but
just Terminator 1,
the
T2,
canon
and
universe
Dark
that's
Fate.
going into
1, 2,
Dark
and-
Fate.
and
So
then
1, Judgment Day, Dark Fate.
Yeah.
Keeping that story alive. And then, Star Wars, we're doing them all, baby. Leading in to Rise of the Skywalker.
Here we go.
Do we know the order of Star Wars yet?
Yes.
In which we are watching them.
The order they were released.
Yeah.
Is the way you should
only
watch them.
order that
Yeah.
matters.
According
Shout out
Gary
to
Whitta,
Cameron Kennedy.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Cameron-
And shout out to Cameron Kennedy doing all of those intros. They're so damn
That Terminator one's
Amazing.
awesome.
So
Yeah,
good.
it's
The
so
Harry
fucking
Potter
hot.
one, Jesus Christ, gets me in the feels. I love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, until next week.
See you next week.
It's something Fast and Furious.
Buckle your seatbelt.